Hello, everybody. Welcome, everybody. This is my big celebration for 200 subscribers, and I know what you're saying. I know what you're thinking. 200 subscribers is almost nothing. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Small victories. You know what I mean? Like, I've been trying to focus on the small victories so far, and I'm really happy to have got this far. It seemed like a little while ago 100 was like, I was sort of stretching, but yeah, 200. So I thought I didn't mark my 100. I don't know why, because it was actually a big deal to me. It really was. It was sort of like I got my little name. My channel is doing okay for something that I really haven't. I've really neglected, to be honest with you. And yeah, so I wanted to just mark this and thank everybody, and thank everybody who's just been wonderful to me over this YouTube experience. I see Amy in the chat, and hello, Amy. You are one of the people that is just wonderful. I love how you address stuff. I've learned a lot from you. The way that you don't take things on board and love the people around you it's beautiful. So thank you so much. I want to thank Peter most of all. That introduction was from Peter. To whip that up in a few days, he does amazing stuff. Listen to my feedback. Thank you, AJ. And AJ is another guy who's been so supportive. But Peter, thank you so much. I really appreciate it so much. And he's just one of those people who you meet in the community that just he's cheeky but has a wonderful heart. I honestly think that these are some of the best people I've met in my life. Absolutely, some of the best people I've met in my life. Doorknob Heb, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and I know we've run into each other. I love your sense of humor. Always a delight. And I do apologize. My content has been coming really sporadically. I never thought sort of doing any YouTube past debate. I think one of the things that I'm probably going to try and focus on is trying to be okay in front of the camera, just talking to the camera and saying what I want, rather than just debate. Because debate, I'm focused. I don't even notice the audience when I debate, to be honest with you. I have no idea. I am simply focused on the arguments. But I think getting to be comfortable in front of an audience is a really good skill to learn, really good skill to have. So Titan, hello, welcome. I love your work. You are fantastic. Mod on every single YouTube channel, I believe, does a ton of work helping us and modding for us. So such a great guy. But I also wanted to talk about where I want to focus and what I was going to do. And then I thought I did find a really weird video on YouTube that we can watch and review if you do want. It's kind of an odd one. So just going through the chat, I see that Peter dropped in, and again, thank you. Hello, Spooky. Good to see you. Atheist Junior is doing a debate with Snake Was Right versus LPP. Oh, so that's on Debate Cafe, I would presume. Oh no, it's a tag team. Which platform is that on, AJ? Just to divert from my thing onto AJ completely. I might also put the link in. I do have StreamYard with 6 people, but I wanna get some people on here and have a chat about the weird and wacky video that I've seen. Peter was here earlier. I'm not sure if he still is, Titan. But well, first I'll sort of say, yeah, I'm going to try and get out content a bit more regularly. The thing about debates is you're kind of at the mercy of when people are setting them up. You really are trying to put your feelers out and things like that. Oh, modern day debate. AJ is debating with Snake Was Right versus Mad Ox and Bubblegum Gun. Oh, really? Oh, this should be Well, AJ, you get the first debate against Bubbles. That's interesting. But you'll do fantastic. Absolutely. So I was talking to Jay and Jay Bundy, and he sort of said, "No, you're a serious guy, you know." And I think that's like my personality. Yes, I have the serious conversations. I don't joke around a lot, occasionally, but yeah, I do serious content. Yes. I mean, I've talked to Jay. I've got my feelings about everything. It's still a little fresh, so I'll put that aside. But I honestly don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's a great guy who's just sort of been misunderstood. But that's all I'll say about that. But yes, serious debates. Yes, I'm going to be going for Debate Cafe. I'm going to have scheduled a debate on morality with Christopher Sylvanus. I'm not sure if anyone's ever heard of him. He wants to debate me on morality, so I'll obviously be debating against objective morality. He'll be debating for. Should be very interesting. Modern day debate, I don't have anything scheduled, but I will still try to set something up. I do always enjoy the debates we have on there. The last one got, a decent amount of views. So, and that was with AJ, who did a fantastic job. He was excellent. So if Snake is in with AJ, they will do fantastic, because both AJ and Snake are excellent debaters. They are fantastic. I also have an offer to debate Hovind again, which I think I'll take. Unfortunately, what I wanted to do with Hovind is get it as evolution versus creationism, each against one another, because he will not debate his own stance. He will only debate the scientific stance of evolution. So what I wanted to do was sort of get him on his ground, be able to push a little, but he wants none of it. So I think I still will take it. I haven't replied yet, but I think I still will take it. But it's a shame that I cannot examine his worldview and sort of ask some questions about how he fits his worldview into the evidence that we see, which is very disappointing. I will debate Otangelo. I believe evolution will be the one I'll debate Otangelo on. That should be interesting, because Otangelo is a funny guy. What else am I doing? I sort of put up one gaming thing, but I don't know. I'm feeling really weird, and I want to get better at being in front of the camera and just doing that kind of stuff. But I wanted to say thank you to the entire community. Thank you so much to everybody, especially Peter and AJ and Amy Newman, James W. Always wonderful. Pat Lowinger is a good friend. He's amazing with all of the time he gives us, non-academics. Dr. Dan Cardinal was really helpful to me when I contacted him. He's amazing as well. Look, I don't have the time to go through everybody that's helped me. I just love the entire community. And we have our disagreements. Jason Torn did a stream the other day. He's fantastic. Climate scientist, of course. He's amazing. There's so many people to mention. I don't know where I'll start, but thank you so much for supporting me through this, even though I have no idea what I'm doing. Insert meme of dog. I have no idea what I'm doing. But this is fun. This is good. These are people that are interesting, and I find fantastic to talk to, and that's why I'm here, for good conversations. But I do want to look at this this video here that I found. Yeah, I found a bit of a weird one. I will get a link, and this only has 6 places, so it's kind of first come first serve. But I think there's only 4 watching, so that's fine. That's fine. Even if AJ wants to join me, that's fine. But I'll put this in chat. So if you want to join me to review a thing, is that it? Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, so this is basically a guy called Ted no, Theodore Schubat. Sounds like a bit of an odd name, and he's a bit of an odd duck. But I would like to watch this and sort of see what he's saying and compare it to what actually is, because I find that creationists do a lot of this. They sort of get hold of a story or a thing, and they'll say, "Hey, this happened this way," and on digging, it wasn't the same, and it's actually about something that happened in the Netherlands. As a big salute to Peter. So this is, yeah, I know John Oddhead. I think Titan Uranus has him beat, though. I would disagree. It's the best name. I think you're disrespecting Titan very heavily there. But yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. So what I'll do is I will start this running, and we can just have a little look at this guy. All right, so I'll start it off now, and we can have a look. Tell me if the sound's okay and everything. Do let me know if I'm royally stuffing things up yet again. Yeah, it is about euthanasia, so be prepared. I'm going to turn a happy 200 people stream. Yeah, no, I totally agree, Titan. I would debate Bubblegum, but he is he's kind of just odd, to be honest with you. Yeah. Hi, Perry. How are you doing? I'm not going to get into that loaded question. That's not what we're discussing today. But yeah. Look, I'm not from America. The only thing I know about Vermont is that Bernie Sanders comes from there. That's the only thing I know. Oh, hi, Ian. Yeah, and that's another person, Ian Davenport, Skywatcher, the Aussie crew from Amy's stream. I want to thank them as well. They've been awesome. So, like I said, I've got too many people to thank that have really made my YouTube experience so good. But Ian is definitely one of them. No volume. Is it mute? Is it quiet? Is it silent? Can you give me some information? Is it completely mute? Zilch. That's a worry. Oh, that's not good. Ooh. Okay. Well, I might have to use Chrome on this little one. Welcome, AJ.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Hello. I am quickly finding out that it says I have to use Chrome if I want audio, which is interesting.
Enjoyed our stream we did with Jason yesterday.
Yeah, that was a really good panel. I really got to say, it definitely was an excellent panel.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate what that guy was saying, but it was an interesting discussion to have.
Look, I lost my temper with him on Amy's. I think that sort of what can I say? When people start sort of apologizing for slavery, it does heat me up. You know what I mean? Like that whole idea that you're going to sort of say, oh, well, it wasn't really slavery and it was fine and they were fine. It's just, yeah, the whole idea of you know, they were servants and weren't treated badly, when, you know, it sort of makes me think, well, you wouldn't have a problem with people being, yeah, I don't know, it just fires me up a lot.
No, I think that's a normal reaction. And I really, it felt like he kept using this this demon possession thing as his get out of jail free card, which was just odd. And you know, I felt like I thought that I made a good point, that the issue we kept coming back to was, are they captives? Are they allowed to leave? Which it's like, obviously, no, they were not. But then I told him, oh, Mark, your typing's pretty loud. At
Oh,
least for
sorry, I
me.
thought I was muted. I do apologize.
Okay, yeah, I'm just, yeah, I was thinking, you know, I was telling him that you're saying that they could leave if they wanted to, but their houses were burned to the ground. Their parents have been killed. If they leave, they have no money on them. They have no possessions. Where are they going to go? How are they going to survive? You know,
They're not. They're not.
they have to stay with these people.
Do you mind just 1 second? Hold down the fort, AJ. I've just got to grab my phone. I do apologize. I've just sort of found out I need Chrome too, and I'm trying to log into Google in Chrome. So complete unprofessionalism from my side. Lots of fun. So AJ, if you could just hold on 1 second, mate. I'm going to I'm gonna just dash and get it. Just 1 second, mate.
No problem. You know, if you are going to plan on becoming somebody who makes videos more, you're going to be a YouTuber, it absolutely is you're going to have times when you have to deal with stuff like this. I can't tell you how many times I had live streams where I had problems, and it's just something that you eventually get better at, you know? So I think it is professional, because this is, you know, this is what happens when you make videos and do live stuff. But I thought it was kind of like there a parallel between that and, if you've ever heard them talk about indentured servitude. And Mark, I don't know if you can, yeah, I was heard background noise or something.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, the whole indentured servitude thing. And Matt Dillahunty is actually the person who I sort of learned about this from, but because they say that, oh, you know, you know, if they want to sort of move goalposts from slavery, what they'll do is they'll talk about this indentured servitude thing, where it's like the person will work for 7 years if they have a debt, and then they are, you know, they can quote unquote, you know, be let go. But the thing is that, and you know, I didn't know this, but I was watching Matt Dillahunty on Atheist Experience explain this to a theist caller, and he really sort of nailed them to the wall with this, because the thing is that there's sort of a loophole where you can always retain this person again, inevitably, as a slave, you know, for the 7 years, because at the end of the 7 years, either the slave can say that I love my master, and then the master will drive an awl through his ear, and the slave will stay at that house and stay a slave. I don't know if it's for like another 7 years or it's indefinite, but
no,
the
it's
thing
indefinite. Once that awl
right.
is driven through their ear, they're slave for life.
Right. So, yeah, and the idea is that it's an option, quote unquote. But the thing is that a lot of times they'll start this contract as being a single man, but during the 7 years, that's a long time. So it's likely that their master will introduce a wife, and he'll have that slave have a wife and children. But then if he wants to leave, he has to leave without his wife and children. He has to leave without his possessions, without money, without any, without anything but the clothes on his back, really. So it just doesn't make any sense for him to leave. And what man would leave his wife and children behind like that? They're obviously always going to say that, you know, I'm going to take the all and say that I'm going to stay here. So it is slavery because, you know, like he explained it, there's a loophole that they intentionally make it to where they can't leave. You know, you can say, oh, you have the option to leave, but it's not an option. It's
Oh,
because
absolutely.
there's no chance of survival.
Right, because they basically have a choice, a dilemma, right? It's leave and leave behind their wife and their child to remain in slavery, or kind of accept their fate as a slave and be able to stay with their wife and child, because their wife and child won't go with them. It says that explicitly, their wife and child won't go with them. And I push back on the indentured servitude thing, because I mean, excuse me, when we talk about what's a slave, like, you can't beat an indentured servant, right?
I don't know. I do. I'm aware of some of the rules about having a straight up slave, but I'm not sure about.
Well, I mean, in like the what we're familiar with today about indentured servitude, you can't just, like, sort of in the English, era of indentured servitude, you you can't just beat your slaves if they act up, kind of thing. It doesn't work like that. They are indentured and pay part of their payment towards paying off their debt to you, but they're just like any other servant, right? So, like a servant you hire, they just give you their money to pay off their debt, and then they keep a small amount for living. That's not how this is working. This is, they are your property, and you can beat them. Nick, thank you so much. I don't know who In Time's producer is, but they're awesome because you run a great show. In Time is Nicholas, Nick, and he runs a fantastic show, especially if you like politics and current events and stuff. He does really well. So thank you, Nick. I really appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, I think I actually met him in person at Faithless Forum. I think I ran into him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling with my setup here. I got to admit, look, I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, just no idea. I am a novice and unprofessional. Look, I'm trying to run a professional thing. Look, I got Atheist Junior here. All right, it's professional. Trust me, it is. Trust me. I have respectable people on. I must be. 1 second.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, my mom was just asking me something. So if you ever have questions about setting up this type of stuff, really, you can ask me. And of course, Peter, Peter is the one who taught me a lot of what, I know about this stuff. He really got me, he really set me up, got me started, and sort of set me up, and then to where he could take off the training wheels. And then I've just been able to do everything as sort of a one-man show on my stream. And I haven't had to really ask him to be on the streams with me and be helping me like I did when I was first starting out. And like, I have not even a couple hundred subs. I don't even have a webcam, and I'm interviewing R and Raw on my show. And I'm like, this is kind of crazy for me. And Peter was there, and we did a couple of those interviews.
He's awesome. Look, AJ, you know what? I'm gonna use you. I'm gonna send this video to you, and you can share it if sound works on yours. I have just been bitten in the butt by relying on Firefox again. I don't know why I do it, to be honest with you.
What's the issue you're having?
No sound.
No sound that you can't hear anything, or?
Yeah, so it says like screen sharing. It's easier with 2 monitors. Shares best on a good computer. Obvious. Use Chrome if you'd like to share audio with your screen, which because I've never shared screen on StreamYard before, or at least shared screen in needing sound. Yeah, I've opened up Chrome and I've logged in, and it's not finding the stream either. So this is fun. This is fun. This is the.
Are you just looking at StreamYard in a browser window, or are you using a separate program to
Browser
stream?
window. I wasn't aware they had a separate. Do they have an app? Do they?
StreamYard? No, I just always go to StreamYard in Chrome on my computer or on my phone. Like I just go in the browser, internet.
Yeah, I
Chrome.
don't think StreamYard's got a app on Windows or anything. I think they just work on the browser. But yeah, apparently I do need to do it in Chrome, but that's going to mess with me. AJ, can you please just play the video? Like seriously, man, you're killing me. You're killing me, AJ.
Well, I'm on my phone right now, but I can go and jump on my computer. I was just yeah.
If you could, I would be eternally grateful because
no, it's no problem. Just give me a second, and I guess I will. I'll jump out, and then I'll join back on my computer, and then I can do the screen share.
Thank you so much, AJ.
Okay. Yeah.
I really do apologize, everybody. This is the 200 subscriber fail channel that you're listening to here. So we are going to muck things up multiple more times for your viewing pleasure. Make sure you've got a good idea of just how unprofessional we are over on my channel here. Fun times. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether they're look. So the reason why I use Firefox over Chrome is because Firefox is more lightweight. So what that means is just it uses less memory and things like that. So if I don't know, I kind of have always used it for performance. Chrome is greedy. It basically takes a lot of memory and a lot of resources. So it may just be that Firefox doesn't have the necessary sort of plugins or the necessary things to be able to make it do that. It may not be a conspiracy because absolutely Chrome is the better browser, but it also uses more resources to be a better browser. So I guess that I don't know why I've always used Mozilla. I always have. I'll certainly debate somebody on it. If you want to debate which is the better browser, I certainly think that I would debate that. If you want to debate the best operating system, I will debate Linux until the day I die. If you do want to debate that as well, but not many people are interested in debating operating systems. So. Yeah, not sure where AJ got to, but I'm sure he'll be back. I'm sure he'll be back. Yeah, and in the meantime, I think that what I'll do is I'll sort of I'll try to set up Chrome and get in the right area. I'll just have a look at my Chrome login. Yeah, Mozilla's been around for a long time. I even used to use Thunderbird for the email program at one point because it wasn't bad. I've got a lot of I did a lot of time in tech support kind of thing, and have a lot of you can always tell what somebody is like from the email program they use, like guaranteed, whether they use Outlook, whether they use there was always one that old people used to use. It was hilarious. They always used to use it, and they'd come through. What was it? But it looked like a child's program. It was hilarious with massive buttons on it. It was like they knew their demographic and they were sticking to it. Ooh. So when I log in, when I log in with Mozilla, it doesn't show the stream running, which is just delightful, just awesome. I really do want to show this video though. I'd love to be able to do it. Oops. Sorry, AJ. I am just getting organized, mate. I do apologize.
No, no problem.
AJ, you are my knight in shining armor. You know that's true. You know that's true.
Hey, I'm just happy to help. I'm happy to help.
Oh, thank you so much, mate. Well, this isn't a long video. It's only like 5 minutes. So,
well, can you put the link in the private chat? I guess.
Yes, I should be able to do that when I work out how to do it. Yep, beautiful. Man, I'm feeling like a boomer at the moment. That's a bad sign. Hey, like, I'm feeling real boomery. I'm not a boomer, I swear. I swear I'm not.
Okay, so I think you'd have to add my screen share.
Yes. And let's add Peter. Hello,
Okay.
Peter.
Hello.
Will
Yes.
someone say boomer?
Cheeky.
Yes.
You're the least boomery boomer I know, Peter, honestly, mate.
Well, I wanted to thank you for saying that I'm cheeky, but with a wonderful heart. That was nice.
I think it's accurate.
Well, Peter, I said that you're 1 in a million, like getting a rare genetic disease.
Yeah, it's like that.
It's like that, yeah. And it's like a rare genetic disease where you never can get rid of him as well. Not that you'd want to, but
once I'm there, it's like the pandemic. You'll never get rid of it.
Okay, so this is the weird thing, and I actually found this and thought I got to put this on for Peter because he's talking about a case in the Netherlands. I don't know if you'll know the case, but hello, Shibatornji, good to see you, and Big Bad Mama. Oh, thank you so much. But yeah, he's talking about a case, so you may know the case, you may not, but I wanted to go through it. So he. Apparently you live in a haunted house, but you can go, AJ, anytime you want. Oh, Peter, do you have anything to add before we start?
That's not a question. You just said.
No, I just think it's great that you've got 200 subscribers, but you need at least 2,000.
Well, I know it's not much. It's small victories, mate. It's you've got to enjoy the little things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You got to enjoy. I should have done it for 100. I should do it and mark the occasion for everything, right? I love to see people, take delight in small victories. So, I don't think I have to.
Well,
I think
Big Bad Mama just hit 100.
Oh, congratulations, BBM at 100. Look, that video of you hassling Kent was gold. It was amazing. I really, if you haven't seen it, go over to Big Bad Mama's channel and watch it. It is her in Kent Hoven's comments making him crazy. It is so funny.
I love the editing of the video. That's what I really like.
Yeah, I think some like weird music on the back, so some clown music on the back would have been a nice touch, but hey, it was so good anyway. Like, that's just my opinion, and but it was fantastic.
I had been talking to Big Bad Mama, and I said, that I loved the video. That's why I put it up on my channel. But I said if there was one thing I would have added, it would have been when Kent says, how many TV channels can she get with her curlers? Like, add a screen that says, in August of 2009, all analog TV signals went down, so she could only get static, even if you could get a TV signal. I just thought that would be funny. Just to even on that, he's wrong. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
All right. My biggest cringe of the week was Kent Hoving announcing that he was going to do a new series, Making Babies, and I thought, no,
wow,
I do not want that mental image. No,
yeah,
really.
I watched that video today. It was so bad. It was just so bad. Mm-hmm. It was just nothing. It was it's not what it sounds like. It's funny because when Kent announced that video, he said, and if any of you perverts in the comment section say anything, I'm going to delete your comment. Like, Kent, you know what it sounds like. You know what you're doing. Don't put that on
Yeah.
us, Kent.
Oh,
Come on.
absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, come on. Like, he is so creepy at the best of times. He's creepy when the subject is evolution and whales. Like, seriously, no,
Yeah.
no. Like, I'll leave you to that one, AJ. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot barge pole.
Yeah, all it was just him saying, "Oh, look at this animal. It has these
Yeah.
interesting features. How did this evolve? And these animals do these things to reproduce. How did that evolve?" But I thought one part was really funny because he was talking about axolotls, I think, and he was saying
Yes.
how the male axolotl will nudge the female with his foot, and then the female will, if she looks over and sees him and thinks he's a suitable mate, she'll start producing pheromones. And he was saying, "How did that evolve? How did that evolve?" And I was thinking, what, Kent? Nudging someone? What do you mean? How did nudging somebody to
He
get their
was probably
attention evolve?
talking about the pheromones.
No, he was saying, like, he described this nudge first, and he was like, "How did that evolve? How did that evolve?" Okay,
Wow.
and then he moved, like, he specifically said it like that. Like, I know that that's what would make sense logically, but he was actually saying like it was some special thing in the animal kingdom that you can nudge somebody to get their attention.
Yeah.
I was cracking up watching it.
Yeah.
And the problem is he's basically reading what someone else wrote, because people need to make his shows for him these days. Everything he had on about the axolotl wasn't his, and it was wrong. He started out, they come in 4 colors. No, they come in 1 color. Granted, there are from I think 6 or 8 axolotls, because they're protected, they basically bred every axolotl that is currently in captivity. And
Right.
due to us breeding axolotls, we got different colors. And the last one was recently added, which is bioluminescent, which is an artificially created axolotl that lights up in the dark.
Right. So you're saying they naturally come in 1 color and we've bred
Yes.
colors into them. Right. Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's
you got, at some point they got albinos, and breeding albinos with the natural brownish color, they came up with a kind of a golden variant. So, but all of those were bred by humans, and never even mentioned that.
Yeah,
Because
it's what you said. People have to make his slides, and he had said on that video, he says, "Oh, so everybody else is going to do the work for me, and I'm going to take credit." He literally said that.
Wow.
Mhm.
Said the quiet part out loud again. Yeah.
Yeah, and he said things before, like saying how his volunteer workers are going to come and do the work, and he's going to take credit as a joke. But it's like, it's not a joke, Ken, because that's literally what's happening.
yeah, that's what's been going on ever since you had your own ministry. Before you went to jail, and when you got out of jail, you just continued.
Well, the creationism that he talks about, it's all from Walt Brown, so he took all the credit for his seminars. It's all stuff from Walt Brown and like AIG, and it's just a mixture of different creations groups. Mostly when it comes to the flood, that's ripped. All of it is ripped from Walt Brown.
That is off of Walt Brown. The rest is from, and I forgot the guy that McKinnon Mitchell found where he went to some kind of university, and this preacher taught, or church, I forgot. Oh, but that's the guy where he has most of his doctrine and most of his bullshit about evolution.
Yeah, and like Karl Baugh also, and
yeah, he should watch Jackson and I, because he could learn a few new creationist arguments. We're reading a book from 1967, so that's probably brand new for him.
Right. Walt Brown needs to get cut a fat check by Kent Hovind. Like, he owes him some money, as far as I'm concerned. He even took his name. He even took the name from Walt Brown. Walt Brown's organization is called Creation Science. Kent just added the word evangelism.
Yeah, but he can't pay Walt Brown anymore. Well, he could, but he has to do something really drastic first to get to him.
Well, I loved it when Kent debated Dr. Dan on the flood, and he said that he had never met Walt Brown before. And
Oops.
like
We
he kept, he
lost
was,
our host.
oh, well, he'll be back. He's just, you know, he's trying to learn. Yeah, he's trying to learn how to do StreamYard.
I am trying to learn how to do StreamYard, yes. Yeah, you know what? A reasonable person would have done this ahead of time, so it wouldn't be a complete disaster. But you know,
have you heard of this Welsh guy called Creaky Blinder?
Name sounds familiar, but I might be thinking of Peaky Blinders, the show.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen him, you need to subscribe. Definitely.
Okay.
But
Is he to all of the sort of setup stuff?
He does live streams, and then he doesn't delete them, but he makes them unlisted because they're basically just troubleshooting while having an audience, which is, to me at least, I think it's great fun. I watched all of it, and he was completely surprised. You watch all of my live shows? Yeah, because I like those just as much as your content because it's funny. Struggling with audio, stuff like that.
Well, he had his other channel where he does some interviews, and he had me on as a guest and interviewed me. So maybe I could send you the link to that later, Mark, and you could watch that because, you know, that was a really cool like interview I did with him, and his content is good. And I know he's been going after Matt Powell recently, which is always good.
He had Aaron Ra on, and when he had Aaron Ra on, he had a female minister in the side chat, and she had all kinds of questions. And then they said, "Okay, hop on the Discord server and come talk to us," which he did. And the day after, she started thinking, and within a week, she was an atheist. She quit the ministry. She resigned as a minister from her church, and is an atheist now. Which
I talked to her.
Muslim. Good to
I
see
talked
you.
to her. That when I did that interview, she was in the Discord server because they have like a green room before people go on the show, and I was talking to her in there, you know, and she was talking about how she was just, you know, doing this transition, and she had like a lot of anxieties about it. You know, it was a huge change for her, and you know, it was really interesting talking to her about that stuff, you know.
Well, it is an interesting anecdote. I think that's sort of the point when they sort of say, "Hey, this atheist was converted, or that atheist is converted." It's like, yeah, but people are converted back. It's not a good argument for why God is true. That you know, I was a diehard. Like, how many times have you heard I was a inner circle atheist, and then I, you know, converted over after talking with somebody? It's not good evidence.
The moment someone identifies as an inner circle diehard atheist, I know 100% certain that person is not an atheist.
Yeah, I've said it before, but you know, if you've ever seen like a video from like an obvious Christian apologist, and they talk about how, oh, I used to be an atheist, but when they talk about atheism, they don't understand any of the stuff that atheists tend to talk about, or like at philosophy, and they're saying, yeah, I was an atheist, I was into sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and all this stuff. Like, no, you were not. Like, you're just either lying, or you were an atheist on like a technicality where you just didn't go to church that much, and now you go more, you know, stuff like that.
You took time off from Christianity to do whatever you wanted to do, and then felt guilty and went back. That's what you did. Yeah,
and like I don't have a problem with that. Like I don't think that's fine, but they want to make themselves feel terrible about that, you know, and I think that's wrong.
But by the way, screw you, Titan. That's not what you want us to think. You're not an inner circle atheist.
Yeah, Titan's an inner circle mod, I think.
Is the inner circle a
Titan is at best a fringe atheist.
All right, well, let's check out this video with the delightfully named Ted Schubat. Now, I'm going to try and share this because I feel confident now. What did that say?
Well, I can still share share it if you need me to.
Yeah, you can be back up. Share, follow these steps to share a video with audio. Oh, well, I hate you. I hate you. Yeah.
Don't forget to click the add sound.
Share system audio. Yeah.
Yeah, I always forget that.
Okay.
Literally always.
I mean, like Vermont is that kind of state. It's full of white liberals and.
Are we hearing that?
Mm-hmm.
Chat. Are we hearing? Chat.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I don't know what Vermont's like. I know Bernie Sanders comes from Vermont. That's probably the only thing I know about Vermont. I presume he's saying it's progressive and stuff. Can you confirm, AJ? No, that's cool, man. Not a problem. Excellent. So we've solved one issue. That's one of 5,000 issues down, guys. Keep watching my streams, and you'll eventually see like each issue cleared up one by one. It's going to be slow and laborious. Oh, hello, stream friendly Muslim. Welcome. How you doing?
Fun to watch.
Yeah, very good, guys. Thank you for having me.
I saw a couple of your interviews.
Good.
Yeah, you did one with Ralph, House of Comments, and it was just baffling. It was something.
I want the counter arguments to that also. So I'd love for you. We said on Amy's that you'd pop on by. So yeah, no, I'd love to hear your reactions also. Like literally, I've got a Catholic tomorrow at 8 p.m. Canadian. So it's just literally about having the conversations. However bizarrish they may be. not however bizarrish, but I just want interesting different views, basically. Some things that I wouldn't have come across.
I have views. I definitely have views. I'm not sure how interesting they are. Anyway, we are watching a video of sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, congratulations on the subs, and I would love to share your video and hang out a little bit. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not much. It's more an excuse just to celebrate the little stuff and the little getting to 200. And I found this video, which is about euthanasia in the Netherlands, which is to bring the sort of tone down a bit, but I really wanted to have something for Peter because he's helped me a lot. And I even had the introduction, which was fantastic, worked perfectly. It was great. But I'll just start this, and we can have a Oh, is that Catholic? Is that like a mainstream Catholic, or one of the weird ones that think that the Pope's not the real Pope?
No. I see. This is the interesting thing. We'll find out.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Fair.
It's a getting to know you session.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah.
What it is.
All right. Well, I'm going to start this game.
They don't mind.
So the theme of the night is the only good Dutch guy is a dead Dutch guy. We're going straight into euthanasia. I do.
Actually, the theme of the night is Mark can't get his crap together. I think that's the real theme here. That's the real theme here.
Vermontians and Delawareese people from Delawareese. Who
Racist.
else? People from Maine, maybe. Rhode Island. Those types of states, they kind of remind me of those northernmost European countries like Belgium or Denmark. Delaware sounds kind of like Denmark, and I think those states would be the ones that would euthanize their parents, because they kind of remind me of those northern European people. That's why I say that. Those people are cold-blooded.
They're cold-blooded, aren't they, Peter? They're just cold-blooded.
Northern European people like Belgium. Yeah.
What's your take on the cold-bloodedness of the Belgians?
So, okay, now you opened a can of worms that you're never going to get shut, because the Dutch view the Belgians as Dutch who didn't quite qualify, so we put them in their own country. So
is that because they let the Germans through or something?
we mock the Belgians all the time. That's all we do.
All right, so it's like us in New Zealand, basically, or the USA and Canada kind of thing. Yeah.
Or the UK and Australia saying, well, it's a penal colony, right? I mean,
they mock us. I didn't know that. Wow. All right. Well, I'm offended now. I thought English people were fine.
Well, on behalf of the nation, I apologize.
Hey, man, what are you doing mocking us?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. So here's the cleverness of the English. They basically send all of their prisoners and unwanted to a gorgeous island with beautiful beaches and consider that a penalty. You know, that's what the English did.
And meanwhile, they bring in Muslims and feed them fish and chips. So
yeah. I mean,
right, friendly Muslim.
I
mean, if you're from the UK, that has to be your daily dish, fish and chips.
Yeah, our daily dish. Yeah, we have high tea, and we have a bit of high tea every day. Also,
high tea with scones.
Let the stereotypes continue.
Yeah. Yes.
There was a terrible story that I remember reading. It was from the Netherlands. Pretty certain it was the Netherlands.
Only one.
And
only one terrible story.
Basically, this old lady
he hasn't read up.
Did not want to die. She was pressured into being killed. She was being pressured.
I highly doubt that.
Elderly care center to die. They were like, "Hey, do you want to die?" And she's like, "No." Like, "You sure?" She's like, "Yeah, I don't want to die." And they said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah." And she said, "Yeah." So her husband went to the elderly care center and said, "Kill the bitch."
I'm sure that's exactly what they said, right?
That's exactly what happened.
Exactly what these medical professionals said.
To be honest, this story must have been somewhere in the region where I live, because we have that kind of humor. So, for instance, there's this joke that someone saw me walking in the street wearing a suit and said, "Hey, what's wrong? Someone passed away?" And I said, "Yeah, my mother-in-law." And they said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I said, "No, don't be sorry." And they said, "What did she have?" And I said, "Well, she caught her finger in the door opening, and so she screamed so loud we had to put her down." That's our sense of humor.
Cold-blooded.
Yes.
And they gave her a cup of coffee. She drank it, and it was one of those chemicals that weaken your body.
What?
Bullshit.
And she tried to.
That's not how that works. Bullshit.
This isn't how weird it's going to get. I think we're steaming up for a tall tale.
I could be wrong, but I feel like I've seen this video before. I don't know, maybe.
Oh, possibly. I don't know. I just found it in one of sort of my wacko streams, and I was like, "Yeah, Netherlands. I know a guy from the Netherlands."
Just to clarify, so euthanasia is legal here in the Netherlands. It is performed by a doctor.
Yes, I would expect so.
And yes, and
it's not like you can just club your granny when she gets
preferably,
a bit old.
Preferably by your own physician. Yeah. And he doesn't do that just on a whim. If Ted
was very clear. He just said, "Let's kill the bitch," and went to go.
Yeah, that's not how that happens. That's not how that happens, because your doctor will give you an interview and will make sure that is absolutely what you want, and that there's no way of providing you with maybe some helping with mental health issues.
No, you don't understand, Peter.
It's not taken lightly.
You
Look,
don't
if you
understand,
can't-
because you
if
can
you
have a
can't-
friend be like, no, go to the doctor and be like, no, look,
Yep.
they told me that she wanted to die. Trust me. Like, I
Yeah.
already talked to her.
Yeah.
You don't need to go talk to her, dude. Just trust
And
me.
if you
No.
Trust me, bro.
if you can't trust a man with the name of Shubat, who can you trust in this world?
Mhm.
If you can't trust a Shubat, then I don't know what you're doing, because that sounds like a trustworthy name to me.
Sounds like a
Right
Pokemon.
back, and her kids were there, and they were grown up, and her husband was there.
Were they
and she was
kids or were they
trying to
grown
fight
up?
back, and the doctor looked at one of her.
I'm just kidding.
They
I'm
can be
just
both,
kidding.
AJ.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not mutually exclusive.
It's always a relief that the kids were grown up. I mean, it's not that there were still a lot of babies in the house and then they killed off the mother.
Yeah,
It's
they-
just,
they-
it's just weird
They
though.
usher all of the 2-year-olds in to watch the death kind of thing.
Because
Yeah,
you would think if
Cold-blooded.
he was talking about like somebody had adult children, you would think they said her children were there. You know what I mean? You wouldn't say her kids were
Yeah.
there that had grown. That's just a
Speaking-
weird phrasing.
I don't know.
Speaking about kids, Spooky Better, you're not going to the doctor with me and tell him to kill him. No, it's not going to happen. Spooky is my internet son, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I kind of got that feeling from you.
I think we're the same age, so there's a weird evolutionary problem going on there. But
I just assumed that Spooky liked to call you daddy. I just assumed that.
I thought Spooky was a girl for like a year.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Oh, that's cool.
Her daughter, I think it was her son, and the doctor said, "Hold her down," and he held her
No.
down, and then he gave her the poison and killed her. And that was murder. So
Was it a poison apple?
talk about euthanasia? That's the type of thing that you're inviting.
Was
You're
the doctor
inviting
a
this
witch?
Time to happen. Are you sure that's a
It's a
true
witch
story?
doctor.
Yes, I am 100%.
No, the
certain
witch
that's
from
a true
Snow
story.
White.
Dr. Venkin was the name of the doctor. The Nazis are still with us. Europe hasn't changed. People sit there and they're like, "Oh, Europe's changed so much. Just a place where we can have pizza and croquettes and drink the finest coffee. We can go to like."
What is this voice? What is this voice he's doing?
It's like,
I think it's a parody of the American left. I think.
Oh, we do not sound like that.
there was a horror. There was like a world war. Okay, in Europe, millions.
Two,
Sounded
actually.
like you said whore. Sound like you said whore. There's
Yeah.
like world whore.
he said
No, it's World War.
World
There
War.
There were two,
World-
Ted. I'm
World
not sure
War
if you knew
II.
that.
World War II.
Wow. I think I saw that porno.
Millions of people died. They were literally taking retarded children and
I prefer
doing
in
experiments
Diana
on-
Jones.
They were taking the brains of retarded children, and that was considered science. They were doing experiments on civilians, prisoners of war.
Pause it.
This is if anything,
I just feel
Yeah.
like you can't try to come off as sympathetic when you say retarded children. I just
Yeah, I know.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he is an authority on, mental disability and that kind
Like,
of thing.
He's not an authority, period. Not on anything.
Well, yeah, on anything. Yeah.
I saw an older Hovind video where he would criticize Darwin and Karl Marx because several of their children died, even though like the infant mortality rate during the 1800s was obviously terrible, and he said that somehow reflected badly on them. But I remember seeing an old video of him where he said, "Oh, Darwin had like 10 children, several of them died or were retards." I'm like, God, Kent.
Mm. Boomer's got a boom,
Yeah.
But Kent, I mean, that's not the worst that Kent has said, and definitely not the worst that Powell has said. Let's face it. Holy crap.
Sure.
Europe is a giant haunted house. You know how you hear about these haunted houses? Like, well, there was a murder in the house, and books are flying off the shelves. That's Europe. Europe is a giant haunted house. There was some serious evil that happened there. I mean, I went there. I went to Italy. Now, Spain, I felt cool. I was in the land of Franco, so I felt okay when I was in Spain.
Which says an awful lot about what he thinks. He was in the land of Franco, so he felt fine.
I mean, every square inch of land on Earth has had countless deaths and wars
Sure.
fought on it everywhere.
Sure.
America has a terrible, bloody history. I mean,
Yeah.
you've heard all the stories about Indian burial grounds and all that stuff, and all that. You know, like the
What about the Middle
wounded
East?
knee. Yeah,
People have
for
been killing each
centuries.
other. Yeah,
Centuries.
absolutely. They've had tons of wars going into the antiquity and ancient times.
You know, yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of those countries in Europe are relatively peaceful, like Iceland and some of those other ones.
well, it's
Switzerland.
really selective because I mean, in the Americas, you have the Mayans and the Incas who used to, or at least the Aztecs used to do like human sacrifice and stuff. Tons of people were killed there. It's really weird. He's very strange.
I was in Italy, man. I felt like I was in a haunted house. That place is weird, especially when I went to St. Peter's Basilica. I went to St. Peter's Basilica.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I have to
Weird
say
ass
something.
place.
Yeah.
And me too.
It defeats the point of having your microphone on a mic arm if you're going to constantly move it and touch it and fuck with it like that. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I have not. Like I said, I've already established I have no idea what I'm doing, AJ. We've already established this earlier. Okay.
Well, Peter knows I'm right.
Okay.
I mean, the guy can't even have his pop filter mounted correctly.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, but so I'm reading the story. Titan had posted it in the chat. So it seems that it's not entirely what he wants it to make it to be.
Yeah, I'm
because
aware.
This was a woman who suffered from dementia.
Yes.
And so
right. Well, I'll finish it there then, and then we can sort of discuss it.
So
sorry,
what happened is she had a will in which she had said, and I need to go find it. She had written down she wanted to be euthanized whenever she thought the time was right, which was unclear.
Well,
and this is when, if you're going to ask someone who suffers from dementia, do you want to die? You're not talking to the person who wrote the will. And so I see nothing about the husband in this entire story. So he didn't go to the doctor and said, kill the bitch. That never happened because that's not in the story. What I could think of is that she and her husband had talked about it. And so, as a matter of fact, if I get dementia, I want people to just take me out. I do not want to go through that.
There's even more to it than that. And I just want to give a big shout out to Jorge, who I have butchered his name constantly throughout my brief YouTube career, and I'll mark this occasion by butchering it yet again. So thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate it. I always love to talk to you. There's more than that, because as far as I read, it said that she wanted the statement. It wasn't a will, it was a statement. So just a signed statement kind of thing. But she said she wanted to be euthanized before entering a care home, but that she wanted to decide when the time was right. So you've got two statements here. I want to be euthanized before I enter a care home, but I want to choose when that time is right. Now, they gave her assisted suicide because it was based upon, basically she had deteriorated to a point where they had to put her into a care home. So that first part of the statement is true. On talking to her, she didn't seem to understand what they were talking about, right? She didn't understand what they meant by euthanasia or why she would want euthanasia. You know, she didn't seem to understand that she'd even made that signed statement. So, and I really, what I want to point out is how much I feel for the doctors having to make this really difficult decision that somebody wants to be euthanized, but can you know when they don't even remember doing it, whether that still holds? And that's the part with consent, that that she didn't seem to want it, but she didn't seem to understand even the context of it, like that she'd asked for this before. So it's very difficult. And the doctors sort of went with, she isn't in a frame of mind to be able to decide. Like she'd already given consent.
Speaking about that, Spooky just typed in the side chat. He said, "We'll do that. You won't see it coming. I'll be over next week."
As long as Peter doesn't
probably. Yeah, well, I said it live on the stream, so that's what he could use, and I think there's a good case to be made that I'm not all there anyway. I'm just based on other videos that I take part in, so he might have a case. So I might not be here next week.
Well, I think you could make a case for me because I've willingly gone into LPP's room and debated with people there, so
and made me listen to it. 5 hours.
Well, I think that's a form of madness. You could argue to lock me up indefinitely. But this is an important point. Like, this whole thing about legalized euthanasia, and when do we? It's such a difficult case, and it should be difficult, right? It should be a matter for very, very serious deliberation. It's not a trivial thing, but the way that this guy is framing it, the doctors just want to kill somebody. I think that's
not the case.
No, it's not the case. And I just want to point out, it's just this taking of a story that should be treated with all seriousness and sort of just making it about whatever you personally want. I don't know how the panel members feel. I don't know how Friendly Muslim feels on euthanasia. I would love to sort of get an opposing opinion. I am definitely for it.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think that I can't imagine living with dementia and fear when you don't want to. I think that sometimes the best thing for somebody is to relieve them of their suffering. I think that's true on a battlefield. I think it's true. But
for animals, for dogs, your pets?
Sure. Yeah, we do it for animals because it's the most humane thing to do. Absolutely. I think that it's got to be handled with a hell of a lot of oversight and restrictions, though.
That is a tricky part about it, though, because if you are talking, and I definitely am all for it, but if you're talking about somebody who has dementia, who has a deteriorating mental state, or is having these type of issues, that it is tough to say, can they give an informed consent that they want this to happen? But that's why my family members know, I've said ahead of time that if I'm in a situation where I'm, a terminal disease, or if I was in a Terry Schiavo situation, I don't want to be on like life support, or I don't want to be living in pain until I die. I say just get it over with, and they know now, so that way I don't have to try and say it when I'm in the situation. That's why I think it's important to have what I think advanced directives are called, like a do not resuscitate type of thing.
Yeah.
And making those decisions can be really hard. It's hard to think about this type of stuff, but those situations just seem nightmarish to me to be stuck in. Like, Terry Schiavo, like they took her feeding tube out, and then they put it back in. They took it out, and they say she's a vegetable, but it's like those type of things. I don't think that it's like she doesn't have any reaction to what's going on. I think it's still traumatic to the body to go through that. Even if she can't, have like show any sort of stimuli from her end, that doesn't mean that she's not suffering.
Let's also not forget, it's not just what's traumatic to the person, because granted, they might not feel it, but it's still traumatic to the family and the people that care about them.
It depends. It depends on the case. So I had a best friend a woman who used to help me in the work that I did for the when I did stuff in the music business here, and she was always my prime volunteer, always there first. And so she had some complaints, had some pain in the lower abdomen. Went to see a doctor, and the doctor said, "Okay, let's do a checkup. Uh, let's see if we'll open you up and see what's going on because we can't find anything."
Mm.
They opened her up, and at that point, she had stage 4 cancer, and that was within 2 weeks. So they couldn't see anything. They put her through X-rays. Hey, Amaretto, long time no
Amaretto.
see. Good to see you. But so they couldn't see anything, and so they planned to open her up, and that wouldn't. At that time, it was already too late to do anything, and so she talked to her closest friends and the family that she still had, and she said, "I'm going to see what happens because the doctor said this is going to be maybe 4 to 6 months." Ended up being 2 months after they found out that she was in stage 4. But she decided herself, that's going to be my day. When I figure out I'm no longer doing this, I want out. And that's what happened. And so she got to settle everything. She gave away pretty much everything she had in the house, so people wouldn't fight over it. This person gets this person gets that, and the family put everything in the room so people could come and pick it up. And it was sad to see her basically shrivel up in a period of 2 months because there was nothing left after 2 months.
Yeah, it's very sad.
I think
Sorry to hear that.
I think that is a really good point.
And it's a hard conversation to have. It really is.
But at that point, this is going to happen. It's going to happen very soon. So everyone has the chance to do whatever they want to do before the person passes away. I was able, because we were in the music business, I was able to have several high-profile singers come to her house and give a concert in her living room. So that was the thing that we could do, which you normally can't if someone passes away. Those are the things you can never do. So,
well, I wanted to add something. I just want to make sure that Peter's done before.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Because Peter's never done. You know that.
Yeah, but I want to be respectful, and I'm sorry to hear that happen. But I think you bring up an interesting point about the decision of like saying I'm just gonna go early because, like Mark said, the family members, especially like young children and young adults. For me, I feel like if they have a family member, even if it's like a grandma, I feel like it's a lot better for them to have their last image of that person be them healthy versus seeing somebody who's been in a hospital for 6 months and they're so weak, because that can be very disturbing for young people,
Well, it's not just that. It's when you have, and my mother died of breast cancer, and my father, he passed fast. He went from a heart condition in the night. But my mum, she had breast cancer, and it took a while. It is, there's when someone's in palliative care and they're heading towards the end, it's actually it's exhausting and it's traumatizing. It really wrenches something out of you. It's not so much, oh well, they're going to die, that's hard on me. It's hard, don't get me wrong, but it's also they are suffering and there's nothing I can do about it. It's watching someone you love suffer that really does you over, in my opinion. And we don't have assisted suicide laws here. I know that South Australia, they introduced them after this 17-year-old kid who was in 18 months of agony from terminal bone cancer. He
that's the
took
worst.
his own life. Yeah, he was really young, and it started that conversation of what can we do about people that are they're terminal. There's absolutely, like, that kid was going to die, and how we help these people and their families and things. But I think it's a really important thing to do, and it's important that it doesn't get just colored as, like this guy was saying in the video, like we just go out and kill people, whenever they got too old. I think it's really important to have a process that is as transparent and as rigorous as possible.
And
so
dignified
don't
for the
get
person.
Absolutely. No, I hear you, AJ. Definitely sort of giving somebody dignity. And look, nobody's saying that, as soon as you get old, if you've got a terminal thing, we're going to kill you. We're going to herd you into a shed or whatever. No one's saying that. We're saying you have the choice, and you shouldn't be pressured into that choice, and you should make it of your own volition. But it's giving power back to those people.
Well, something else that Peter had said, talking about finding out about cancer so late, is that, early detection is so important, and I had posted about this on my Twitter recently, that I took my mom, she's 70, I think, and I took her she had a colonoscopy appointment, and I took her, and they said her doctor, before she went, told her that she was anemic, and he told her that she had cancer. And then she went to the colonoscopy, and they didn't find anything like that. And they told her that the reason that was happening was because she had a lap band surgery 10 years ago, and it was causing bleeding from her stomach, and that was why. But they detected no cancer at all. She was completely healthy. You know what I mean? So that was a really big relief for us, and I was we've been real happy about that. And, but a colonoscopy is a great way to have an early detection of that type of thing. Because a lot of people get colon cancer and they don't detect it early enough because, they don't do that because nobody wants to go get that procedure done. You know what I mean? It's considered quite unpleasant, even though I think
sure.
Actually doing it, she said it was fine. And the clinic she went to was really great. And they gave her apple juice when she woke up. Because you have to do prep before, where they give you that stuff to drink and you can't have any food or liquids,
fasting. At least you got apple juice out of it.
Yeah.
Amaretto says it's important to remember that in some instances euthanasia is being pushed versus compassionate care and actually providing people with social services. I don't doubt that maybe that's the case somewhere. I don't think. I don't know if that happens in my country. I don't know about what happens in the Netherlands.
No, it certainly doesn't happen here because, as I said, there's a lot involved for a doctor to have the permission to even do that, and
well,
it's a process that is being done with great care, and because
there was one instance where a lady
if it later turns out
Canada chose to euthanize herself because she was low income and could not find anywhere to live with her severe allergies. Yeah, I think if that's the case, Amaretto, that is terrible. We're sort of talking about euthanasia for people with terminal illness kind of thing. I think allergies wouldn't.
That seems more like just suicide, than euthanasia, but
it does.
I think I don't know if it's just in America, but one situation where I could see somebody maybe being pressured in that or just somebody hoping that somebody will die sooner is when you have situations where you have family members who want to get an part of it, an inheritance from a will from like they have an aunt who's very wealthy, you know, and they're thinking,
Yes.
oh, I haven't seen my aunt in like 30 years, but I know that I'm in the will and I want to get that money. There are people who are very selfish like that. And that does happen. I don't know if that means that they were trying to convince the person to, you know, maybe try and opt out. Maybe if they were in chronic pain, like, you know, I don't know. But that's just what I thought of when you read that comment from her. That there, you know, that does happen.
And I suppose like I said earlier, it would have to be of the highest rigor. You would have to make the process have an incredible amount of checks to make sure that's not happening. I think we can all agree that under duress is something that should absolutely be illegal, and sort of attempting to duress somebody into it should be a crime. Absolutely. No, I completely agree with you, Amaretto. I'm not sure what happened in that Canada case. I honestly don't know. I would love to see that was the case, because that's not cool. But you know, that isn't what we're sort of talking about. You know, and I just also want to say, if anybody, like, I do apologize if this triggers anybody, and if you are upset over loved ones dying, I'm certainly happy to talk to you about it, and you know, there is help out there for getting over it. Look, grief is a serious thing. Dealing with grief is incredibly important. I cannot stress that enough. And talking to some people and realizing that people don't feel grief the same way, and they may do things that you don't think are coping with it, that may be their way of coping. But you know, I really think that if you're in grief, you should reach out and get professional help. I know I did. My father died sort of a month after my mother. They were separated, but just coincidentally one after another. And I definitely needed therapy to help me move beyond that point. Because it was very, very traumatic for both your parents to die in a very, very short amount of time. I mean, I was an adult, but it still was traumatic. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, you know, the thing that I sort of learned is about, you know, I was, I guess, maybe skeptical of the idea of those 10 or 12 stages of grief or whatever. But when I lived it, I was like, man, those are legitimate. That's what you go through.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
you really do. And you have to just let yourself go through them. And there's no right or wrong time period that it should take you to go through them. And you might go through them more than once or out of order, you know, and, you know, it's different for everybody.
Yes. Yep.
But I find interesting what Amaretto was talking about, Terry Schiavo, how they were saying that there was responses. I think she had a religious family, and they were like, oh, we know that she's communicating with us. They know. But when she died, they analyzed her cerebrum, and it was like the size of like a walnut. Like her brain was so deteriorated. It was like a third of its size. It was tiny. Like there was no way she understood any stimuli. There's no way she was communicating back with anybody. It was just not capable of it, you know? But there was a religious element there. And it frustrates me when, you know, I hear Answers in Genesis, those organizations where they go against euthanasia, or, you know, people call it death with dignity, which, you know, I like that term, because they think that it's only up to God to decide when somebody should die. And I just think that's so stupid, you know? Like
the thing is, if that were
stupid,
well,
if that were the case, if she was giving them some sort of response, then the people in the care home would have known about this too. It can't be so that only the family knows this, because keep in mind, there are people working in care homes, and I know this because my mother in her last years was in a care home. There were people who were part of the staff, who absolutely loved their work and loved talking to the people that were there and cared a lot about them. And so
Yeah,
it's
no
not
doubt.
just people who do their work because it's an income.
Well, I
And
have
so,
met some of those people though that work in care homes and they're just doing a
yeah,
job. And,
obviously, but it's
Yeah.
what I'm saying is it's not just those people. There are also people who care a lot about the patients that they
Oh
care
yeah,
for.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
they would have noticed if there was a response, because my mother had a very strong bond with a girl who worked there, and she was on a temporary contract. And when she left, she came back and visited my mother. And right before my mother passed away, she got a new contract and was back working there. So, and she had a real bond. I mean, she just came and visited and brought flowers, even though she didn't work there anymore. And no weird intentions, just they got along, and that was it. So, and that happens. And if no one notices, even if the family is there and there's a response, the people in the care home should have witnessed that as well.
Yeah, and
It
I
can be the
I
thing
agree.
that, yeah. So, and that's the difficult thing. One thing I need to clear up though, AJ, my friend wasn't late for a diagnosis. She had one of the most aggressive forms of cancer, if not the most aggressive form. It
Oh,
was
okay.
it was bladder cancer, and
Oh,
that particular form of cancer is known that it's really fast, and
okay.
it's why they said when they opened her up, this is going to be 4 months, maybe 6 tops, and he didn't even get that.
Okay. Yeah, but of
But
course, still, I mean, early detection is still good, but yeah, I guess I get,
it is,
that,
it is.
yeah,
Definitely.
that,
If you feel something, go see a doctor. Make
sure.
sure you're in time.
But yeah, what you were saying about some of those employees, I think I could sort of see both sides of that, where I could totally see a lot of them really caring for the patients, and then I could also see some of them maybe feeling like they don't want to get too attached to these people if they know that these people are sick, and they might they don't want to get emotionally attached, because I guess everybody would handle it differently, but yeah, it's not that they just don't care, they're just doing it for money, like Mark said, they're not doing that, but
I kept in touch with this girl for quite a while, and so it is tough on them as well if you care for someone and they pass away. But what she told me is that what she got out of it is that at least in the last few years, they got to care for them and gave them as much love as they possibly could while doing their work. So there are
I think
different ways to look at this.
Yeah, I think palliative nurses and stuff probably have an incredibly hard job. Actually, all nurses. Let's just
Yeah.
stop to consider how amazing the job that nurses do is.
yeah, my
the-
mom was a nurse. My mom was a registered nurse in the Air Force.
Okay.
And I have to say, Mark, this is the most depressing celebration stream ever.
I told you this. Yeah, I know, right? I halfway through, I'm like, wow, this is really down and depressing for a 200 sub celebration. I'm paving
My
new
party
ground.
popper popped. Yeah, my
And-
party popper popped quite quickly, bro.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
Like, and on a lighter note, I am very sorry for anybody that has suffered any loss, and
absolutely.
it's a very difficult, including myself. I think that's one thing, regardless of what side of the debate you're on, when you've suffered a loss of a loved one,
It's difficult for everyone.
It's difficult.
Yeah. It doesn't
and
matter. It doesn't matter if you believe in a God or not. It's difficult for everyone because you lose a loved one, and no matter how you look at it, and you're going to struggle with it.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
struggled with that. I've actually, I think if that's one of my biggest struggles is dealing and sometimes in life running away from it when it's happened. I've just always struggled with people that have, they've passed suddenly. I had like an uncle, and he was just such a great man, and I just didn't know how to deal with it. I was 16, and I was lost. I had my exams. I just didn't know how to confront the pain, and so I just pretended like it didn't happen, and I shielded myself away just to protect myself from it. And other
That's
losses
fine.
that have happened, it's something that I'm scared of, to be honest. The grief of it, and it's never easy. And if anything, it's
No.
kind of
I remember before I had dealt with something like that, I had always heard about the concept of people being in denial, and I would always think like I didn't understand that. Like, how is it like your dad that or my person that you spend every day with, they die and you're gonna be in denial, like, oh, they're not dead, until I actually experienced that, and I experienced what denial actually is like firsthand. And I was like, wow, you know what I mean? Like it's like your brain can't understand it because you're so used to being around this person every day. And then
doesn't process.
it's like there's a disconnect there. You know what I mean? And there would be times when you forget that they were not even around and you're like, oh yeah. Or like, you know what I mean? Like you wake up in the morning and then you have to remember like, oh yeah, they're not around anymore. Crazy stuff like that. So I had to experience that first to really understand it.
And I want to welcome Amaretto, who is on
Amaretto.
the move.
Hey guys, sorry,
How
I'm just
you
getting home.
Yeah.
I thought you were off in the woods trying to perform some kind of ritual or something. Maybe kill virgins or babies or whatever.
you know, I'm not recruiting souls for Satan tonight. I'm all feeding tonight.
Well, the night's still young. You've still got plenty of time to sacrifice.
I mean, that is true, and I mean, I can't say it's not a full moon yet. That'll be on the 10th, but yeah,
Slender Man.
I mean, that's not the only thing that goes bump in the night, but bear with me as I get into my house. But
that was a crazy news story.
No worries, don't dox yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Please, what's anybody gonna do that whatever. Come for me, Kiwi Farms. I ain't afraid of y'all.
No, Kiwi Farms is no more.
Oh, really?
It needs to be no more. I think they're fighting back against Keffels and stuff like that. Cloudflare is also Cloudflare. You can't even reply to their tweets anymore. It's great. I just
saw a tweet that they dropped Kiwi Farms.
Did they? It will be a wonderful day if they drop Kiwi Farms because F them guys. Like it's literally
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So Kiwi Farms is basically think like 4chan on steroids, where people it's basically a harassment site where
it's like a forum for people who are obsessed with
4chan
YouTubers.
need steroids?
Not even just that. It's like 4chan on steroids, and the reason I say that is because people will work really hard to dox people. They will be posting, especially trans women. There have been a couple that have actually committed suicide after their information has been posted on Kiwi Farms. Like the harassment is relentless. Like
that's not cool.
The current situation is with a Canadian streamer who their internet alias is Keffels, Keffals. I believe her first name's Claire, but she actually got squatted within the past month. She's actually overseas right now because they tracked her hotel. Like these guys from Kiwi Farms, they deduced what hotel she ran to after she was like swatted in Canada just by the hotel bed sheets.
Yeah.
Like stuff it's insane.
She ran a campaign for Cloudflare to drop Kiwi Farms. That's the person I saw the tweet from. That is Keffels.
Yeah. And honestly,
she said a statement from their campaign is coming soon.
Good.
She showed a screenshot So
This is
I just know Kiwi
Due-
Farms has been very.
it said due to an imminent and emergency threat to human life, the content of this site is blocked from being accessed through Cloudflare's infrastructure.
Oh
For
wow!
more details, please see blog.cloudflare.com/Kiwi Farms-blocked.
Yeah, I've been reading
Good.
that right now. That's pretty interesting.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, you know what? The big thing was it was a lot of people that were targeting. Like I said, a lot of it is against trans people. Like, so the guy who runs Kiwi Farms, I think his name's Joshua Moon. He's actually was a founder on 8chan as well. There's another co-founder of 8chan has actually straight up come out and said, like, yeah, like he actually worked to take 8chan down because he was like, this is just too much. So it's like, it's basically a lot of the people from the Chan boards who have basically they get their rocks off on harassing trans people and their families and friends. There's one trans woman who I was reading about who actually committed suicide, and they found her Facebook page and were posting all sorts of shit. And while her partner and her partner's family were trying to get access to her computer passwords and stuff so they could take care of and block these people. But it was just, it's nuts how far some of these people will go just to make a trans person's life a living fucking hell. And also, like, anybody who's neuroatypical, like the whole one of the big targets of Farm was somebody that's known on the internet as Chris Chan, who has a long and storied history. Some of it is definitely great for sure, but they're neurodivergent.
Yeah.
And so that was a big thing. They targeted Chris Chan for being neurodivergent before they came out as trans, and you know,
and being bad at drawing comics. Like,
yes,
this.
like weren't they the person who created Sonichu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As someone who's neurodivergent myself, I find that highly despicable. And
It's
the
disgusting.
target trans people, what occurs to me is, can you imagine how useful these people could be if they actually did something productive? Like if they tried to track down murderers or something rather than
have you
harassing.
guys seen the case of oh my gosh, I forget the guy's name, but there's a documentary that was on Netflix that was like, you don't fuck with cats or something like that.
Yes, excellent.
It was basically talking about Luca Magnotta and how people brought him down. So it's basically if Kiwi Farms, like, you know, and these are people who probably weren't to the level of these Kiwi Farms people, but like, imagine, like, you could use that for so much fucking social good. Like, it's a shame that they view like LGBTQ and neurodivergent people as such a threat. When it's just like, you know, honestly, like most LGBTQ people, we just want to fucking live our lives. We want the ability to have, you know, families, to do things that, you know, our average, you know, cishet peers can do. I mean, it hasn't even been 20 years since we've gained the right to have legal marriage in this country. And there's only one town, I think, in the state of Massachusetts where you can be poly-married in this country. So, you know, for me, like, you know, there's still a lot of gains to be made, you know, and poly doesn't just apply, obviously, to LGBTQ people, but there's a large portion of the community who's poly. And, you know, just having legal recognition of our spouses and chosen families and stuff like that, and protection for our kids. Like, I'm a parent. That's a big thing for me.
I feel like that's going to take a long time for society to catch up with that. You know, I mean, it already took them so long just for gay marriage, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and I memean, you know, we've seen it now, like, you know, goodness gracious, like with Roe v. Wade kind of being set back here in the United States.
Did you see the comments that my governor made the other day, Governor Abbott, about abortion and Plan B pills?
That's Texas,
I haven't
right?
yet, but I will tell you, I've been watching all the coverage of Beto O'Rourke, and it's been kind of great. Like, just, I'm really hoping Texas comes through and yeets fucking Abbott out. Like,
know.
Abbott is a big fucking hypocrite for several different reasons. Like, I love that the fact that he's a disabled person, but yet he's okay with taking away rights from disabled people and making things harder for disabled Texans to actually live and be free, like to have the same rights, the same ability to have a good, healthy life in general. As Kittens is doing VR chat in the background. He's totally not wooing. He's not wooing for the destruction of disabled rights.
It's kind of one of those things that, like, it's like seeing a black politician, you know, do these voter restrictions and things like that. You know, the clamping down on voting rights for. It's just
the cognitive dissonance. Like, there's a reason, and like, I know that, you know, you're not going to get, and I was talking with a coworker actually, and who's LGBT as well, about this earlier tonight. And they were like, yeah, I voted for Trump at first, I will admit, you know, but like, it's a whole big thing where it's just like, yeah, you know, you're not going to get everybody on the same page, but it's like, if you are being willfully ignorant to the experiences of your peers, it's like I'm going to vote for the leopard eating faces party, but the leopards won't eat my face, right? Right? You know, it's that kind of whole big thing. You know, and I just think it's really sad that a lot of people like just lack enough empathy and understanding for their peers. Or, you know, if they're the people that did get the lucky break and they think other people just need to emulate what they did, that's not necessarily going to happen. I mean, how many other people probably are trying to be like Jeff Bezos right now? But, you know, it's almost like things like Amazon, you know, certain other things. It's like you got to be at the right place, the right time. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to gain success.
Right.
Oh, can I read you the quote that from Governor Abbott that he said from this article? So
oh yeah, give it to me.
Okay, so
how bad is this?
He
probably bad, but
he was asked about his state abortion ban that makes no exception for victims of rape or incest. And what Governor Abbott said was, we want to support those victims, but also those victims can access healthcare immediately, as well as to report it. By accessing healthcare immediately, they can get a Plan B pill that can prevent a pregnancy from occurring in the first place. And with regard to reporting it to law enforcement, that will ensure that the rapist will be arrested and prosecuted. Even though, like, it's like, dude, people don't report these crimes a lot of times.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
I didn't report my sexual assault to the police because I was straight up told by someone who was a friend that the police would not believe me.
Right.
So
and when this ban went into effect, now Plan B has been very hard to find because everybody went out and started buying it, you know?
Yeah.
And there are low income people who can't afford to get these pills. And a lot of times, like, people don't realize that they're pregnant until it's
after 6 weeks.
So many things wrong with that. It's just stupid.
Like, speaking as somebody who does have a uterus, I can straight up tell y'all that it is possible to be pregnant and then still have your period. How do I know this? It happened to my older sister. She still had her monthly cycle, thought she was good. She was pregnant with my nephew. Like, the human body, it's amazing. It's so complex and wonderful, but it's also like, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and things don't always affect the, you know, medication, hormones. Like, everybody's different. You know, you can generalize some things, but like, you know, even modern medicine isn't necessarily like, you know, and research is not to where probably it needs to be. Oh my gosh. He's having fun in the background.
We had somebody like, so where I live, my local member of parliament, she was in a conversation, and this was just after Roe v. Wade had been struck down, and coming up to our elections, they asked her, will you still support abortion, kind of thing, because it's legal over here? And she said, well, the matter hasn't come up, kind of thing. And they said, well, would you support it if it did? And she's like, well, the matter isn't on the table at the moment, like this dodging. And
nice non-answer. Like,
right. But she just lost a seat where I am to an independent, and they had been there since the start of Australia. So for 150 years they've had that seat, and they just lost it over this one issue.
Mark, could you add my screen share, Mark?
Yeah. Sorry. As I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just reinforcing that right now.
Yeah, I just wanted to play this little clip.
you're gonna make us suffer and watch his
Yeah,
face?
it's so bad.
I mean, it's not Mitch McConnell, but still.
Yeah. Let me lower it. Okay.
They kind of blur into one another after a while.
It doesn't require that at all, because obviously it provides at least 6 weeks for a person to be able to get an abortion. And so for one, it doesn't provide that. That said, however, let's make something very clear. Rape is a crime, and Texas will work tirelessly to make sure that we eliminate all rapists from the streets of Texas by aggressively going out and arresting them and prosecuting them and getting them off the streets.
What a fucking idiot. I'm so sorry. Pardon my language, but
No, I
what
agree.
a fucking, like, stupid motherfucking obtuse douchebag. Like, clearly, this motherfucker does not give a single fuck about anybody with a uterus in the state of Texas. Because to be honest, if he fucking did, well, first off, what about the comments that our lovely, dear old former President Donald Trump made about grabbing bitches by the pussy, or grabbing them by the pussy?
Yeah.
Well, that was.
I'm like, well, that's sexual. That's not great. That's definitely
it was
assault.
locker room talk. That makes it okay. It was
Yeah,
it was
whatever.
It was just a guy thing. It was just a rape guy thing. It's guys talk about rape.
I mean,
It's a sexual assault or two
ridiculous,
between buddies.
Yeah.
Like,
regardless,
seriously.
though, it's crass. It's like
It's so stupid.
the fucking GOP here in the United States. Like, how low can we fucking set the bar? I feel like that's where it's going to. Like, I was having, like, my cousin actually ended up coming into my job tonight, and I was explaining, how one of my aunts, who's working with the GOP campaign here in my state, had the gall to ask me if I was on welfare when I was asking her for sources for some of the shit that she and her candidate and their buddies were posting on Facebook.
What?
And I'm like, that's not how I roll, but it's just like, this is the thing. Like, you're setting the bar so low for fucking being a decent human being. Like, first of all, if he actually fucking gave a damn, he would actually be talking to people working for advocacy groups, and also that are the people like social services, therapists, people who actually are the ones on the front lines dealing with a lot of these issues. Because then they would know that a majority of rape cases are not reported or do not result in convictions. It's also a lot of people don't report, or when they do report, are not taken seriously by the police officers.
Right.
Let's also keep in mind that a lot of sorry to talk over you.
I just wanted to just say a few things real quick. Although I kind of feel when I watch that, I'm like, I don't even know where to start. But like,
there's so much you can tackle.
So we already said, the 6 weeks thing, that's obviously stupid. That's not long enough. People don't know they're pregnant by then a lot of the time. And I hate how he just appeals to this tough on crime thing, and the people behind him are clapping. You know what I mean? You're not in Texas in 2020. We had almost 14,000 rape cases. You're not going to eliminate all rape from the state of Texas. But the thing is
I want to know how many of those ended up in convictions. That's going to be the big thing.
Yeah. But it's like, even if you did, people who should still have the right to abortions, even if you did get rid of all of them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there are all these rape kits in Texas that are just sitting in labs, not getting checked on, or not getting taken to courts. Nobody's like doing.
Are they underfunded or what?
It's a little bit of that, and a little bit of, honestly, I can tell you, like, for the most part, and I'm saying this as somebody who, You know, like I said, I've been a victim of sexual assault. Rape tends to be one of those things. It's like a lot of the times it's a they said kind of thing. That's how a lot of people view it. They view it as, oh, it's a misunderstanding. It's not, you know, it's there are a lot of people who are willing to like make exceptions and brush stuff off. And mind you, yes, I'm very much a person that believes in definitely shades of gray. There are, you know, it's not always a femme that's being assaulted by a man. Like that's the one thing. There's a lot of men who don't report sexual assault as well.
Yeah.
Well, there's also sexual coercion too, you know?
That is a thing. Yes, you are correct. Because I've been in there as well because you know, especially when you're neuroatypical and don't always know how to read the lines, it gets really like I've been in that situation. So for me, but there's other ways that sexual coercion happens. Like there are people who've been like bullied into having sex because they just no is not taken as no. So here in the US, like I think it also comes down to a social thing where, you know, rape is bad, right? But then you see people like Brock Turner who get a fucking slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Where, you know, it's not, and it also really depends heavily on your jurisdiction. The victim, the perpetrator, how much money both of them have, their general standing in society.
If they're an athlete.
If they're trans.
Yeah.
You know, if they're LGBTQ.
And their race.
In general. Yeah. Yes, for sure. Like there's a lot of factors, and which is unfortunate.
Yeah. It's not always, you know, somebody being tackled in an alley by, you know, a big person taking advantage of a very weaker person. You know, there's a lot of different factors, but then there's
a lot of drugging, college campuses, like people being drugged.
Yeah.
There was a post from somebody on Reddit who basically said like they were getting in trouble with their college campus because they formed a quote unquote hoe union, which was basically meant to like help like protect them and other girls. It was totally voluntary. It was like hoe union was a joke, but it was like kind of like they were being taken. The college was like basically saying like, you know, giving them shit for basically trying to protect themselves and their fellow girlfriends from like potential skeevy ass dudes.
Yeah. Well, those colleges have like those the parking lots will have like those poles where you can press a button to like ring some cop who's like 7 miles away or, you know, whatever. Like it's like not enough, you know?
And campus police oftentimes don't even take these fucking cases seriously. And then, you know, like you brought up, like if they're an athlete, oh my God, fucking forget about it. Like if they're making the school fucking tons of money, like if it's a football school, which I know, like, you know, you could be like, you're just generalizing, but I'm like, it's the generalizations are all based in fact and things that have historically happened. And it's just such a shame.
They'll be like, well, I mean, like he did this, but I mean, you know, we made it to the semifinals this year. I mean, like maybe if we could just, you know, like their priorities are crazy at some of these schools.
Yeah. And
sorry to interrupt, guys. Sorry, Mark. I've got it's sort of like 4 o'clock in the morning here, mate.
Mate, no worries at all.
A long one.
Oh, got it.
So I just wanted to say thank you for having me on.
Wait,
I'd love to arrange that.
Friendly Muslim, you complain?
Yep.
I'm across the pond from you. It's an hour later here.
Yeah, no, I know. But yesterday I only had like sort of 2 hours sleep. I was working behind the scenes on a stream, and we were doing some prep work, and so we only had 2 hours sleep. So today
Peter, not everybody is an eldritch god with no perception of human space and time.
Okay, I've put my email address in the private chat, Friendly Muslim.
Okay.
You know, feel free to contact me if you do want to set something up. I'm more than happy to.
We do have something in common. I tend to work behind the scenes as well.
Yeah, no. You're I'm a great fan of yours also. Peter, that conversation where you both represented on behalf of the Muslims against the preacher was an epic moment on the internet.
Wait. Preacher Perry? Yeah. That douchebag?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was not only not only
Wait,
that,
you mean y'all haven't made him choke on enough dicks yet that he's still
Wow.
around?
I actually
Yeah.
did an interview with him one-on-one.
I saw.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
see that. I was like, I started to, but you know how I hate that fucker.
Oh,
For
yes.
no one who
With
has
you
context,
You and
Harry
me
decided to
both.
fucking misgender me and was just an absolute other fucking douchebag because he just views me as I should be a subservient vagina to his superior Christian holy penis, and I should just keep my mouth shut.
Amaretto, I went on his channel and I picked out the verse in the Bible that showed that he was a fraud and people shouldn't trust him, and I wanted to have him read that out live on air, and he wouldn't do it. And when I kept pressing him, he kicked me from the stream and started crying. Why does nobody like me? And
I mean,
all the
that's what
Christians in the chat.
Like straight
Hold
up,
on, hold
like
on.
as someone who's a theist, these guys are assholes. Like I saw what is it, Standing for Truth did to like Mark and Leo.
Yeah.
Like you
But
know,
hold
fuck
on,
that.
it gets better. It gets better because all the Christians in the chat were, "Why did you kick Peter? Bring him back. Bring him back. Read the verse." So that was what made him cry. And yeah, to me that was funny. But we did have a conversation, and we are inducted now as honorary Muslims because we
Advocate,
defended.
It was he was coming at me and trying to say, "Well, your Quran says this," and Mark and Peter were like, "No, it doesn't." And I was like, "You know what? I'll just leave it up. I'm gonna. You can be advocates for the Muslims." And they went through and they
Yeah.
debunked him using the Quran. It was beautiful. I literally, I want to clip that moment. That is a Hall of Fame internet moment. The moment when two atheists represented the Muslims and beat a Christian
I mean,
with the Quran.
listen. Sometimes you know what, like. I've had those moments before when I've interacted with these guys, and it's like team pagan I identify as Unitarian Universalist, like with a strong pagan lean. So it's like me and these guys, and it's like the whole handshake meme, and then it's like dunking on like Christians who have like no self-awareness and think that their way is the only way, you know, and it's basically got to be their way or their highway, and that no other religion is or way of life or atheism or agnosticism is like valid and true. And you know, I'm glad to hear that. I'm so happy to hear that y'all are still like dunking on Perry though. That makes me, that does warm my heart. Even if he's not gone away, it still warms my heart to know that people are still dunking on him.
You knew that would happen. You knew that would happen anyway, but it's nice to reafirm it. Absolutely.
Nice to reaffirm that it's like, oh yes, because like I haven't been around in a hot second because of what happened with Amy. So, you know, it's good
I haven't seen you in a while on these videos, you know.
Well, that's okay. That's sort of private stuff. That's not a problem. But I think that anytime somebody, I don't really have a problem with Muslims or Christians or anybody, but whenever they're saying stuff that is just factually incorrect, that's it. I'm against what you're saying, not you specifically.
Like yesterday,
what you're saying.
You know, like yesterday when we were talking to that guy, you know.
But, look, he wound me up. I don't know what about that guy like got me so worked up on.
I didn't like how he kept giving thumbs up to the camera. That annoyed me. Like when somebody
it reminded me of flat earthers, to be honest with you. I know that what's his name, Howard Stewart, the guy that thinks rocks are giant hearts and kidneys and stuff.
Mud Fox University.
He came on one of the Dower channels. And I didn't recognize him until you had a debate with him.
Right.
And he was like taking verses from the Quran, and he was like, "You don't understand the universal message," and like there was a lot of hand waving going on, and sort of it was bizarre. He was on, I think he was on Hamza's Den. Then he came over to the EA stream. Yeah, but that was, and then I saw you debating him, and I was like, "This is just bizarre." This is a whole bunch of bizarre in one sitting that I just couldn't understand. But that was great. Mark, Do you have a
Yeah.
time that you're available offhand now, or
Usually most days I'm at home studying from about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm 12 hours from Eastern Time. So
Okay.
like if it's Eastern Time, it'll be 11 o'clock Eastern Time at the moment. So it's
Hey,
11 in the morning.
So I think Otangelo is offended by my filthy mouth.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
saying,
Otangelo.
I was saying,
Otangelo.
Otangelo, are you misgendering Amaretto, Otangelo? I don't.
I struggle to listen to Otangelo for a long period of time. That's another one.
Otangelo, you know, you can be offended. You certainly can be offended, but it's just words that I don't find offensive. You know, and that's okay. If you want to be offended, be offended. It doesn't really matter to us. So,
But
Hey,
Amaretto, what pronouns do you use though? Because I have not talked to you in so long, and I've just wanted to
No,
ask.
it's fine, babe. So typically, like I use they, them. Sometimes I'll use she, her, but it's in general. I don't identify with the term woman. I prefer femme because I don't typically identify like with. I don't identify with like what most people say that their experience is as a woman. Like I, as one of my best friends puts it, they're like I am a lady who is oftentimes one of the bros. Like, if that makes sense. I'm very masculine in a lot of my, or like, I'm not, I love makeup. I love looking femme. But at the same time, I have no problem telling Otangelo and Perry to choke on my cock.
Well, I had seen a YouTuber that had this in their bio, a term I hadn't really seen that was trans femme. Do you think that would describe you, or would just femme? Like I'm still learning, you know, all these terms.
So oftentimes, like trans femme, I identify as transgender, non-binary, and gender fluid. Trans femme oftentimes is used by people who are binary, mask, like assigned male at birth, transitioning to female, or they identify as like a non-binary. I'm okay with it. Just you know, that's the thing. It's like you're going to have some people that are LGBTQ who are not going to agree with me using that term because to them that's like should be something exclusively used by like assigned male at birth people. If that makes sense. Like, this is what I was talking to my coworker earlier.
Can I just duck in for 1 second? I know Friendly Muslim's probably getting a bit tired and probably wants to go. So thanks so much for coming, Friendly Muslim.
That's all right, mate.
Contact me through my email. We can sort something out. I do apologize, mate. I know that you're probably falling asleep over there. So,
no, it was good to meet everyone and hang out for a little bit. It was very. I always learn something new, and I really enjoy that. And if we have a topic that we find some common ground on, then that's a win for me also. So I really appreciate your company. So thank you, everyone.
Problem.
Congratulations on your 200. May it continue,
Thank
mate.
you.
And I look forward to our conversation. Take care,
Yeah,
Peter.
that'd be
Take
fantastic.
care, Atheist Junior,
really
as well. And nice to meet you also.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
No, I'm having fun.
Sorry, Amaretto. You were saying about
you guys are good. It's been so long since I've like chatted with you guys. Sorry,
I have
how
really missed you. Like really missed your perspectives and things. I must say, and I think that sort of with masculinity and femininity, I think that. I mean, I am definitely I consider myself a man, but I know I have a feminine side, right? A side that likes cute things and will squee at things with my wife, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like everybody has some sort of part of themselves that is sort of feminine, unless you're super straight or whatever,
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm sorry. I will never forgive T-Jump for actually trying to give legitimacy to I know there's a thing in the debate community where it's like, well, but still. I still think it's and I understand what the modern day debate platform is to give every voice a thing, but just the fucking fact that it's just I don't know, some of the things that are debated, I'm just you're giving legitimacy to things that really should not be. And you know, AJ and I, like, we've gone over this. Like, we had an argument with T Jump on Twitter where
Yeah.
T Jump just
Yeah.
basically doesn't fucking care.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
we'll
we
debate
were going
whatever,
off
yeah.
on him and on Twitter. That was funny.
Yeah.
Well,
He
Yeah.
has, no
T-Jump,
he has no fucking cognitive dissonance, like, on some things. Like, he's just he is not even willing to, you know, accept that, you know, that with that, in the case of that super straight thing, that there is actual fucking harm. It's the same fucking thing like with Andrew Tate. That's one of the prominent things I can think of. Like promoting Andrew Tate is promoting to a lot of young people that are still forming their opinions things without 100% like context and facts, and it's the same kind of thing. And I don't know, I view, like, you know, and this is coming from somebody, like, I'll say a whole bunch of other fucking crazy ass shit, but usually it's you know, it's in a context of people here, you know, versus like, hopefully, like, not anybody that's like young and impressionable. And I'm not saying take my word as fucking law. You know, I'm not professing to be like the LGBTQ Bible or like the gender and sexuality Bible. I'm one person, one perspective. And right, like, and that's with everybody here. We have our own differences in how we approach arguments, and our positions are different. Like, even if, you know, we have some similarities here and there.
Well,
but
I think what we were trying to tell T Jump is that the super straight shit, it was started as a joke.
Yes.
But for him to keep saying that it's a legitimate identity is very insulting, to be comparing it to these other trans and, you know, non-binary identities that people have. And when people don't respect those, or they don't want to use pronouns, or people can get outed, people can get targeted for violence and stuff. And it's like, dude, you're super straight shit. It's just not the same thing, dude.
No, it's not. And they want to act like it is. And it's
ridiculous.
I don't think so. Obviously, it's a parody.
If you want to be a joke, it's okay. But, you know, like, the conflating was annoying.
Like, it's one thing, like, Amy and I used to joke about being the queen of the F slurs. You know, like, you know, we're LGBTQ, you know, and in a sense, like, well, we're reclaiming that word as well, in a sense.
Were you
like,
saying something, Mark, though? I didn't.
But well, I think it's sort of, T Jump will debate whatever based upon his idol preferences, kind of thing. So if he thinks something, he'll debate on it like it is 100% true and certain, even though he just has an opinion, basically. And I kind of get that. I kind of understand that. But at the same time, I would not debate that subject on that position. But I think that T Jump will take any position and debate anything at all, regardless of how strongly he feels about it, or how much he actually believes it.
I mean, it's
what's his fucking name? Alex Stein. Like, T Jump, he just fucking went to fucking Alex Stein levels of bullshittery with that debate, in my opinion. And, like, I mean, for those who are not aware, I mean, Alex Stein actually he was harassing Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, you know, in DC. He's commonly a fucking gag figure in the fucking debate community, from everything I've seen.
I love her.
Well, Stein made it onto Tucker Carlson's show. He made it onto Fox News. I'm not joking you.
Wow.
Oh my God.
You know what frustrates me about T Jump is how I feel like he can be so logical about when he's debating evolution, you know, and I thought one of his debates with Kent was just brilliant. The strategy he had, the way he was doing it. And then when it comes to another topic, and I feel like I'm talking to a different person, and he just sounds like he's just, you know, his arguments are so terrible and not logical and just bad. And I'm like, I don't get this. You know what I mean? But it's very like Hovindi in the way once he decides something is true, nobody is ever going to tell him that it's not true ever. He
I don't know. I
have
have mixed feelings on T. I think I agree he can.
I mean, I like him, but
yeah, I do as well. I just think that some of his positions are based upon sheer argumentation rather than sort of really good argument. I don't know. Sometimes he just
Like
seems
he's just basically trying to play devil's advocate, just
like he's
for the fact.
contrarian, basically.
Yeah.
He'll just sort of go nah, and that's the limit of his. Yeah. But don't get me wrong. I do agree. Evolution, sciences, atheism, these kind of topics. He's fantastic. He's just not great on the social.
One of the best,
social
really.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that his and I disagree with him with things like he believes in objective morality, and I don't, kind of thing. But I don't think he's bad. I think he's gotten a bit lazy recently. He went on a debate against Hovind and used somebody else's video, just played a video.
Yeah.
And it had been one that he played in the last debate. It was
he did that twice.
Yeah, it's kind of not great.
Well,
I mean, that's my biggest really critique of T-Jump. Just I feel like that and how he reacted to AJ and I on Twitter was just I have no if I have any respect for him, it's very little.
Yeah, I don't think I'm hating on him. Like, I like T-Jump. It's just that I think if you're going to be a debater and debate ideas with people, then you should be open to having your mind changed and saying, let me I may not agree with your position, but let me see if I can see your argument and see if I can see the logic behind it, and
but that doesn't kind of work in the YouTube debate me bro scene that we kind of find ourselves in. It's more it's kind of people always looking to dunk on the other side kind of thing.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I'm, there's a part of me that wonders, is that kind of like what Amy's channel is kind of becoming, with the whole.
I mean, she hasn't done a debate for ages. She's trying to get them started, but she hasn't done one for ages.
I think the title of it is "Debate Me, Bro."
Well,
probably sarcastic.
Look, I've got no problem with the sort of YouTube blood sport debates that are going on at the moment. I find myself very happy in them. I find myself enjoying them a lot, like being part of them. But as I was saying, because there was a big controversy, I'm not sure if you heard about this, Amaretto, but there was a guy, Dr. J. Bundy, and he came in to debate Ken Hovind, and everyone thought this double PhD would kick his ass, and he basically just agreed with him. And there's been a lot of theories tossed around about why that was done and what happened, and
strange.
It was unusual, and I think that but anyway, the whole point is that I made is this evolution isn't going to be settled on a YouTube debate platform. Like, this isn't, people take it so seriously, like this debate is going to decide whether God exists or not, and it's like,
and it's not.
Relax.
But who the fuck are we in and not to displace
no, I know what you're saying.
any of you guys, but it's like, who the fuck are we in the whole grand scheme of things?
Right.
And yes, there are some of us in the general community, do have relevant degrees. I mean, Pat can talk to you about
Sure.
archaeological stuff, and I believe Mesopotamia was their specialty. So it's and Pat can talk about certain things for sure with authority, and they have the credentials to back it up. But in general, I think that's why trying to provide us providing sources when we are speaking about things and showing where we get our information from is it's helpful to people to help make up their mind. But in the whole grand scheme of things, we are tiny voices, and of course we're trying to make a good impression, and honestly I think just the fact that we're here even as tiny voices, because we're able to have good conversation, productive conversation. There's been plenty of times, let's face it, we've all been up till 6, 7 in the morning within the past couple of years, talking with one another, even after show would end.
Speak for yourself. That's during the day for me.
I know, so it works out for you.
Well, I just look at the debates as a form of entertainment, and I think me and Mark are kind of similar, that we just like to debate for, I guess, the love of debating and enjoying the sort of sport of it, and sort of gaining my skills and experience as a debater because we enjoy to do it. And you know, I also, you know, we were on MDD. I'm going to be on Modern Day Debate again soon because I am trying to grow my channel. I don't know if you know how many subscribers I'm at now, but that's one way that I can grow.
How many are you at?
I think it's 6,100.
6,100.
Yeah.
Did you get a big pop after the Hovind?
I got a big growth after Apologia, and then I did a video with Emma Thorne, which was a big
nice
boost. Yeah, that was the big. Those were some of the big events, and yeah, I've done 2 debates with Kent, and there was definitely viewers, more subs after that, but those were the 2 big ones.
Nice. Yeah, so it's like I've been actually spending a decent amount of time on Twitch. Like I'm growing my Twitch channel, and like this is the thing where I'm kind of at a crossroads because you know, Twitch poll has been in a Twitch politics. Twitch poll has been like in a weird state since like Destiny got kicked off the platform, and there's been a whole lot going on.
Right.
Bosch got banned or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is the thing, like, and not to say like Destiny, I feel like warranted for sure, but like, you know, this is the thing, it's like you can't take out the fact that those were like huge members of, you know, that community. So I'm at a point where I'm like, well, do I want to try and do debating on Twitch? Do I want to maybe make an alternate account so that way I can keep my fun gaming stoner shenanigans separate from my serious business, you know, debating and everything else? Because I mean, at the heart of it, like, I really like talking about these kind of subjects, and you know, I view it as like you know, as like, you know, it's like infotainment.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I think that makes sense.
And I like that perspective, but I know, like, you know, that's the thing. Not everybody is here for that. So I think like I'm at a point like, you know, do I want to try and make that my YouTube presence? Do I want to keep them separate? Like, I'm at a whole weird thing, but I mean, I've been spending a lot of time on the Twitch platform. Basically, like, my whole situationship that I was involved with somebody with for over a decade just kind of came to an end. And between everything that happened with Amy and this person, and then, like, you know, I'm still dealing with stuff from the loss of my mom last year. Like, nothing is settled.
I remember that. What do you mean about Amy though?
So Amy cheated on me with Rachel, and Rachel actually wanted me to sleep in a dog cage the first night I met her when I drove down to Maryland. First of all, I didn't even know what I was walking into. Basically, Rachel, as someone who has been in the BDSM community, I think Rachel gives off way too many predatory vibes. I remember,
I know her.
She's one of Amy's Patreons.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've met her though.
She's been in the chat here and there. But she hasn't been on screen per se, but very predatory in my opinion. Actually tried to actually badgered me, made me cry, was being just absolutely fucking toxic, was bitching that I missed dinner when I had told Amy, like, that evening that I was having dinner with my other partner and my son, and would be coming down after. It's just very toxicity. It's like saying, like, telling Amy, see, so and so said that Amaretta would be like this, and you know, trying to basically say that, well, you know how Amy is, like, as if like trying to excuse like her and Amy having a relationship behind my back.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like, just general bullshit.
Me, but I feel like I'm a little bit confused though, because it was, you said she cheated, but
yes.
Were you in a one,
Amy,
like
a
one-on-one only? You weren't in an open relationship with you and Amy, or was it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like we were in.
Is it like, it would have
like,
been okay if you told it, if they told you about it, but it was behind your back?
Yeah, so I was working. Amy and I were working towards like also a DNS relationship, and I was actually.
What does that mean? Sorry.
Dom sub, like mommy.
Okay.
Mommy, baby girl as well. And like, basically she ended up going behind my back and was like, Rachel, she let Rachel collar her and didn't tell me any of this.
So
Like
if
she
Amy-
moved into Rachel's house in Maryland behind my back when she was actually, we were talking about having her move into my house.
Wow.
Like,
So
very traumatic for me.
let me sorry. Just
Well,
let me ask.
I kind of
if
feel
Amy had been
like
upfront about it with you, would that have been okay? If
It would have been better,
open?
like if we had, yeah, like that's the thing. Amy didn't communicate any of this to me. I
Okay.
didn't have any
Okay.
clue about stuff going on, like to what level, until I actually was like down in Maryland at Rachel's house, which actually isn't even Rachel's house. It's her former mistress's and their husband's house. Like Rachel, like she just gave me so much like predatory vibes. There was an ex of mine that Amy also knows, where she's basically a trans femme version of this person. Also, like they had a huge ass German Shepherd who I was not prepared for. The dog was actually making me very uncomfortable when Rachel was yelling at me. Plus, you have the live-in sissy who's like the former mistress's husband, who's now serving Rachel as well. And this dude is like a grown-ass fucking man. So basically it's two, and Rachel's fucking huge and built like a linebacker. So you've got two fucking grown-ass people. You have me, where I'm 5'2", and I don't even weigh. I don't weigh two. You know, I'm 5'2", and I'm like tiny by comparison.
so you didn't feel
they wanted me to sleep in a
comfortable
dog cage.
Wow.
Like,
I'm
no,
sorry to hear that happened to you. You know, but I mean, you know, I love Amy, but
oh yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry
just
that happened.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I'm okay talking about it now. I was like, for a while there, like, I reached out to Pat actually because of Pat's background, because I was afraid. I'm still afraid for Amy, to be honest, because I don't think Rachel's a good person. I think anybody who like
she's a
Rachel,
big girl. She's got to make her own decisions in life.
yeah,
you know.
at the end of the day. And I mean, I was afraid for a while there, because so Rachel, like Rachel was talking about when I was leaving, because I was having to fake everything was okay so I could escape. Didn't even want to give me and Amy any privacy, by the way, as well. So that's a red flag. You don't want me talking to her in private. That's an abuser tactic. That's the isolation abuser tactic, hands down.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I had to fake playing nice with her in order to leave, and she was like, "Oh, we'll hang out sometime, just you and me. Amy doesn't even have to come."
Bullshit.
I don't want her knowing where I live, and to be honest, I wouldn't be able to trust that Amy would not tell her where I live. You know.
Well, I kind of feel like, I mean, Amy's not really here to defend
and
herself
stuff
or anything. Yeah. So, but I hear that must have really scared you, and I totally understand that you felt very. I mean, I can't even imagine what you felt with that description. But I'm glad that you're out of that situation. I really am. And it does make me concerned for Amy, but at the same time, you know, people have got to make their own decisions, especially with stuff like that. There's nothing you can do to second guess somebody, you know, and what they want. I have no right to be telling anybody what they should do.
No, by any means. And like, and that's the thing, like, yeah, this is just like my perspective, but like from everything, like, you know, I thought everything was fine. I thought we were, you know, my partner had even told her, you know, you're welcome. Like, you know, whether or not they, you know, like they've known Amy for a long time as well. Like we were just shocked. Like, and just the things that, like, I guess she was telling Rachel, like, she thought like we were trying to use her as a free babysitter or something, when I was like, that is totally not the case at all. You know, it was weird. Like, and it was just felt, I've known Amy since I was 19, and I turned 35 next month, like in next year rather. So like, I've known her for most of my adult life, and for that to happen was like very hurtful. And you know, I struggled for a long time, because it was like, I really enjoyed hanging out with all of y'all, but to be honest, like, I ethically, like, it kind of felt like not okay. And then it also was just basically like, well, first off, yes, I'm worried for her, because regardless, she hasn't known Rachel anywhere near as long as she's known me.
Yeah, that's true.
And then second of all, like, just how everything went down was very disturbing. Like, there's another partner Amy has that I think has no idea about any of this.
I have 2 questions I want to ask you. Just whenever, okay. So I'm really curious about, like, how does somebody approach you when they are asking you if you want to sleep in a dog cage? Like, how does that conversation come up? What did she say?
I mean, I had been like, I actually kind of, when we first met, it was like a whole, all right, well, I thought like this was like, she was also going to be dating her possibly, or working towards something with her, but like we were still going to be involved. And basically the way Rachel ended up phrasing it by the end of the night was, I couldn't date Amy unless I also dated her. Another huge red flag. That's very red flag as fuck. For anybody in the poly community, and no, that's not okay. But like, so we were basically, it was kind of under the assumption of like, maybe a little bit of teasing here and there, like fun, lighthearted stuff, whatever. But then it just kind of went, I'm not really a sub.
Okay.
And then Rachel was like under the impression I was both an atheist, which for someone it's like, how the fuck do you get that impression if you've been around in the community, in Amy's community for a while? Because I'm probably like one of the cooler theists that have been on that channel.
I would say you are the coolest theist that's been on that channel, yeah.
But like,
yeah,
just the fact like she was like trying to say like that Amy told her that I was a sub, and Amy's like correcting her like, no, I didn't say it. Was like, so it's just like, things just kind of went way hella off the rails. And it went from being like, all right, social kind of get to know, like fun time. Yeah, man. Whereas like there was an expectation that I was going to sleep in a dog cage. And that's where it kind of went like, hell no, like some of the things that were being leveled at me. And then having the live-in sissy, who's the owner of the house, kind of get involved. Like, I just felt really ganged up on and very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's understandable.
And like, and the worst part was we were smoking. We were like, so Rachel and I were both medical patients. So, and Amy's a medical patient. We were all high. So here I am, 2 hours away from home, and high.
Yeah, and I know how
it was very predatory.
When you're in a situation like that where you guys are smoking, and then sometimes somebody will say something where it's like, wait a minute, like it doesn't register as being like weird first, because sometimes people say weird shit when they've been smoking or whatever. But
it was
I don't know
culmination of everything in the conversation, and just the shock of like, this is all sorts of weird fuckery. And like I said, it like really fucked me for a long time, because like I said, I loved hanging out with all of y'all, but at the same time, like that was just insanely hurtful. And also like, Rachel was even trying to be like, what are you doing here trying to like have a DNA, like you have a kid, which is crazy because her former mistress who passed away had at least one child. So I'm like, your own fucking mistress had a daughter, and you're trying, like, it was just basically, it was almost like she was trying to level certain things just to kind of push me away and get me to go away.
Well, I mean, as long as your child's being looked after, I mean,
yeah, well, and I think her mistress's, I think at that point, the mistress's daughter was full grown, but still, I'm just kind of like, such weird shit. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, and for context, like, I had no idea anything was wrong. Amy and I were actually supposed to go to a summer convention, like actually a couple weeks after my mom passed away. We were trying to get her, and she said that she had a podcast thing to do. Now I'm thinking she actually probably was like going to see Rachel. And
well, I feel like when you're in these type of relationships that are poly, you know, obviously being in any relationship, communication is important, but in these situations, it's even more, because you have another more than two people, then you guys need to be open with, about everything that's going on, because then you're going to have like situations like that, you know. And
like yeah, and like for context, I'm out looking for furniture for getting prepped for Amy to come live here. And then she puts down that she didn't even say that she was dating Rachel or looking into dating her or anything like that. She said, I may have found a place to live and you're welcome to come too, you know, even part-time, but it's in Laurel, Maryland.
Well, it is
possible. And Rachel was saying there was no space for me that night I first met her. She's like, you'd have to get a place nearby with your kids. Sorry. So it's like, there was just all sorts of shit that was like, all right, what part was Amy trying to play it, and what part was Rachel? And so, I mean,
that's what I was just thinking, because like, you know, you have to wonder before you can't, I think, ascribe everything that's been done as blaming Amy, because you don't know, there could be Rachel influencing her to do this and saying, you know, don't tell her these things, don't talk to her about this, you know what I mean? That makes sense, you know what I mean? Because she seems like
just
a
at the end of the day,
personality.
though, it's just, I mean, like, exactly, and I acknowledge that. At the same time, though, I feel like ethically, like, Amy's known me for long enough where it's just like, if you can't be, like, say any measure of honesty, like, you know. And then at the end of the day, like, it still kind of made me feel like she was offering me up to her new Dommy mommy as like you know, at what point, like, did she tell Rachel, you know, before that moment, and Rachel just didn't want to hear it, or was Amy trying to save face in the moment? Because Amy would know better than anybody that I barely sub for anybody, and it's because of people like her Dommy mommy who have made me feel super uncomfortable.
It's kind of impossible to know, and it sounds like we've got a whole lot of sort of mind reading here, what people knew and what.
And that's the thing. And you know what? I just don't have. That's why I kind of just stayed away. Like I would peep in every once in a while, but like, you know, just the fact, like, Rachel, like, just, I don't want to support Rachel, and honestly, I can't support Amy's Patreon because that would be supporting Rachel. Rachel doesn't have a job. Rachel's on disability, but like, she brags about like, you know, how she was a former business owner who basically got disabled and stuff. And it's just like, well, you know, that's cool. But like, basically, I don't want any of my money going towards someone I feel is predatory. And I feel like at the end of the day, that money is going to be going to help support Rachel.
Well,
I don't feel comfortable.
I think that's sort of I mean, it goes towards Amy primarily, but
Amy still pays them money to stay there, and also, like, I would not trust Rachel as far as I could.
Well, the thing is, I don't know Rachel. I've never met Rachel, and I have no idea what she's like. And to, you know, I really understand where you're coming from. I really do. It's just,
I know. Like, you need to form your own opinion, and it's really hard because this is all. I'm just saying why I kind of stayed away for like the longest time, and
no, that's fine. I get that, and I'm not questioning your decision to do that. I think that, you know, from what you've described, you were in a place where that was definitely the best thing for you. I totally get that.
I agree with Mark, because you know, we have you here, and if you're telling us that you felt unsafe in this situation, then I know it's a disappointing outcome, but if you didn't feel safe, I think it's the best thing for you that you're not in that situation. You know.
And that's the thing, like, you know, as long as like Amy's still making content, then, and I'm not seeing any, you know, I mean, obviously you can still hide bruises, right, and stuff like that, but I'm figuring, like, you know, the fact, like, if she's still making content in some way, shape, or form, well, that's got to mean she's some measure of relative okayness. And, you know, I just knowing context about Amy, that because I've known her for so long.
I just feel that sort of me commenting on her relationships would be like her commenting on my relationship with my wife. It's just, I have no context in which to comment on that, which is why I've been quiet, because I've got no idea, and I don't really see it as any of my business. Just like if she commented on my relationship with my wife, it would be like, well, what do you know? You don't know shit, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I hear what you're saying. I do, and let's not forget also that it's James W's channel as well. Like James W is, as far as I know, innocent
That's
in all
true.
of this.
Yeah,
And
that is true.
you know, it is his channel as well, and I don't forget that I am. My
And
Patreon does go towards him as well.
And they just recently got monetized, you know?
Oh, did they?
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hit 1,000 subs.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you know, I don't know if I'll ever go back. Like, I struggle with that because I think, like,
That's
I've
fair.
maybe been back once or twice, but I don't know, like, because that's the thing. Like, I just, Rachel strikes me as the type of person, like, you know, she wants to, she's going to view it as like a trophy kind of thing. Like, it's just having experience with people that have come off the same way. I'm like, well, chances are, and I know it sucks to make generalizations about people like that, right? But at the end of the day,
So
like, I have to kind of,
that's mind reading again. You're going,
yeah.
that's what they're going to think. And even if they do think that, what impact is that going to have on you? I totally get, like, there's been breakups I've had in the past with girlfriends, and there's some that I cannot hang around again, and there's some that I can hang around again. Like, it's been pretty amicable kind of thing. And whatever is right for you, that's what's right. But I wouldn't. I can understand. I mean, one girlfriend, Sarah, I could probably hang out with her anytime. Doesn't really matter. I don't see her anymore, but I think she went back to Canberra. So, but you know, I really wouldn't be worried about her, you know, being with some other guy, and that guy says, "Well, she's mine now," kind of thing. That really wouldn't worry me. I can say that. Yeah, I don't know, but your case might be different, and it's a different person and completely different dynamic. So I get that.
You know, the last relationship I had that had ended sort of badly. Maybe I don't know if Amarita would feel the same way, but it was frustrating for me because I felt like that person, it in the lead up to it ending, they were obviously like unhappy, and I would ask them like what was wrong, and they refused to talk to me about it. And I got frustrated because they ended the relationship, and it was frustrating for me because I felt like, you know, if you're an adult or if you're a mature person, then you should be honest and try and work out the problems with the other person. You shouldn't just say it's over, I give up, I'm not even going to try to work this out. That was what was frustrating for me. So is that sort of how you feel? Or I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of it, because I felt like, as far as I felt blindsided by it, and honestly, like, you know, it's hurtful in a sense.
I was shocked. You know, I was shocked.
So yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing, and it's hard. And I mean, you know what? Like, I know it's uncomfortable. Like, you know, we can definitely switch topics. Like, I don't want to make this like an overarching thing, because, you know, it's just one facet of everything going on, right? You know.
Yeah, I just worry about, like, I don't mind talking about our relationships generally. It's just
other people not present, you know.
Yeah, I really you know, I don't mind talking about. Yeah, I just feel like that sometimes breakups happen like that. Sometimes people just leave, and I was that girl Sarah I mentioned, I was dumped rather heavily by her. And I don't
like, yeah, I mean, it sucks. I mean, regardless though, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know,
the thing is, she went back home to Canberra and to her parents' place basically, and then came back and dumped me. You know, looking back, I kind of suspect that possibly she went and cheated on me while she was over there, and just wanted to, you know, instead of having to deal with the guilt and work through it, that she just wanted to kick me to the curb because she was done. And that's what it's like sometimes. That's the important thing is we're sitting here and going, well, this is what happened. And after, I can certainly say that's what I suspect, but I'm not trying to read her mind to say, hey, this is what she thought, because I don't know. And sometimes you're never going to know what people are thinking. And they may think they're doing the very best for you and them by doing that thing, which hurts you so deeply. I think it's just important to realize that trying to analyze what someone is thinking by doing something is kind of pointless. It's kind of, you're never going to know for sure, and you're just going to go through all of these scenarios, settle on one, and the whole point is the methodology of doing that is oftentimes you're 100% wrong. Like, you're just 100% wrong why somebody did something, but you think you know what they're thinking.
You know,
yeah,
Mark,
sorry, go ahead.
If I can randomly like change topic, I wouldn't mind for you and me sort of talking about the Jason stream that we did last night, because that was very interesting, and I enjoyed talking with that guy. But you know, I said in my ending statement with him that I've seen these theists who will defend the like worst parts of the Bible and try and argue that the Bible doesn't have slavery in it, or it wasn't slavery, or that in that and they always say, oh, well, you're not taking in the full context. That's one of the most annoying things I hear, you know. Because I told them, you know, we're talking about a specific chapter, and the events of that chapter are really clear, you know. It was a little frustrating, but I don't know. He had kind of a weird attitude,
Can I say,
I don't know.
Can I say one thing, because I've been quiet, because I'll tell you right after this why. Amaretto, what you shouldn't do is what Mark said. Try and figure out what happened. Try to read minds. It's going to make it harder for you. And so maybe if you can find a way to just leave it behind you without ever finding out what exactly happened, I think that might even be better. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but it'll save you a lot of grief. And for what it's worth, we miss you.
We do.
And so I'm really happy to see you, even though I was completely silent for an entire time, which is due to someone sending.
Which is rare for Peter.
No.
Yeah, that's very rare.
Someone sent me a video of a dear friend of mine shooting up with heroin on camera.
What?
So I needed to check that out. It turns out that he used toilet paper as a tourniquet, which doesn't really work really well.
That doesn't seem possible.
And he shut up with his vape pen and not with the syringe. So I checked on him. Okay. He's fine. He's an idiot, and he scared a lot of people, which is why I was
nicotine straight to the bloodstream. That cannot be good for you.
Well, he didn't actually.
Yeah, but so a vape pen doesn't have a needle, so it doesn't really work.
I thought you meant he put the vape juice in a freaking needle. And
someone was actually worried that he did something really, really stupid, and so I called him, and he didn't pick up the phone.
Well, I remember
he had me call the U.S. twice and then get an answering service. I can't get to the phone right now. Well, fuck you. I'm worried. You need to pick up your phone.
When we were in middle school, we used to take our mechanical pencils, and we would click it so the lead would be really far out, and then you hold the eraser down, and then we would act like we were doing that because the lead would go inside the pencil.
I can top that. When I was in the military, I was part of the medical part of the military. So, and we were responsible for giving people vaccines. And so you had a lineup outside the door, and then they got in one at a time and got their shots. And when we opened the door, I don't know if you know the really large syringe they use when you have your ears clogged up to clean out your ears, which is
Do
about
they have to
as long
pierce
as your forearm, which is then filled with warm water. So we fixed a needle to that, and then every single time when someone came in, I just squeezed out a little bit out of the top, and we had at least 4 or 5 people just collapse on the spot.
Do those things have to like pierce the earwax in your ear? Is that what those are for?
Yes.
Okay.
Like if the earwax is really super compacted, they have to have a way to kind of basically
flush it out.
I don't understand how that
Literally.
happens. It's like, do you not clean your ears for like a year straight, or...
Dude, listen.
It can happen if your glands in your ears get overactive and produce more than is usual, and then you can just clog it up by sleeping and having the pillow press against your ear.
So you should never use
earbuds
earbuds in your ears, AJ. Never use earbuds.
I
ever.
Don't. So can those people, like, are they partially deaf because of that? Like, can they not hear?
Yes.
Yeah. I've had it, and then you go completely deaf.
But it must be so satisfying when they actually like take it out, like puncture it. That must be really
satisfying.
Not
listen,
really.
there are earwax removal videos, same as like pimple popping for a reason. It's
Actually, the weirdest I've seen lately are these videos doing clipping cow hooves and like cleaning up damage. They are actually uber satisfying, them like clipping the cow's hooves and then, fixing what needs to be fixed and like spraying it with disinfectant and stuff and then wrapping it all up.
You guys are so weird. I watch videos where people make furniture out of pellets.
That's also.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
I was gonna say, like, what else do I watch? Because I watch something that's a little bit more normalized. I like to watch clothing, like people who actually make things from like clothing or artwork. Watercolor paint reviews have been something I've been on. Like, I don't know, just
I watch the opposite.
But
I watch the opposite.
You watch
These people without clothing, but that's a thing.
Oh my. And I mean, there's so many wonderful, like, it's part of why I love the YouTube space, because it's amazing. Like, I remember a time before YouTube. We're not gonna say my government age again, but for those who haven't caught it, we just know I'm over the age of 21. But I remember a time before YouTube. I remember when YouTube was young and it was basically like just stupid meme videos, maybe, if anything. It was like the new Newgrounds. Oh my God. Yeah. But now it's like there's so much content and it's wonderful.
I like the dog grooming videos. I've been in kind of
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, I forget her name. There's a dog groomer. I believe she's based in Canada. She'll make the YouTube shorts, and she does cats as well. But it's funny because it's just some of the dogs and the cats are like so grumpy.
Yeah,
and she just finds a way to like make it entertaining.
Does she have a spray at the end that smells like jelly beans? Is that her?
She has like the jelly bean cologne. She'll have like the different colognes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, one of the things I've been watching is shorts for this Useless Farm. It's called Useless Farm, and it's a woman who this one emu,
I love her. Karen the emu.
Karen the emu hates her and attacks her every 2 seconds, and it's hilarious just how angry. There's a good emu for comparison. What's the good emu's name? Stanley, I think it is.
Yeah,
Stanley the emu is really placid and really cute and cuddles up to her and stuff. And the female Karen is just
aggressive AF. Yeah. Like, I don't even think she can clean the bedding without it being a big deal. But there was a video that she had recently where somebody commented like, "Can you show us what would happen if you didn't stop Karen with your arm?"
Oh, really? Like, why would you do that to yourself? Maybe
and then
cool.
Bistro Huddy. I don't know so I'm restaurant industry, so like Bistro Huddy for me, Drew Talbert, has been a big thing. And then Ben Bernard doing the table where they basically are cosplaying the 50 states in DC. Okay. I live for it. It's
Yeah.
definitely like if you're American, like there's definitely some things like they're parodies of like Texas and California, Florida. Florida is their most probably like the most well loved one because Florida is an utter fucking chaos gremlin. And
Florida
it's
man.
great. Yes, very
Yeah,
much.
I've heard that Florida. We've got a state called Queensland. Queensland is our Florida. If somebody does something incredibly stupid and quite highly illegal, that's where it's
Reckless.
happening. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I don't know if it's weird, but I watch my own videos a lot.
That's not weird. That's probably a
Bad.
good
That's
tip.
actually recommended, believe it. So I'm watching like a lot of stuff here and there on like how to really get started, like growing your Twitch channel and stuff like that. And there was one gentleman who was basically like, watch your videos.
Yeah.
Like go back and watch your stuff. And I mean, I'm sure some of it's applicable to the YouTube platform as well. Like honestly, like
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think that's weird at all. I think it'd be more weird if you didn't review your stuff and maybe kind of go back and be like, where could you maybe improve? What did you like that you did? Like, I need to probably start doing that because like I've upgraded a little bit. I have,
That's
and
cool.
I have the Elgato.
Oh
right
yeah,
there.
I love Elgato. Their products are so good. My microphone is an Elgato now. I love it. But yeah, like I'll watch the entire video, and it is good watching them because then you can identify the parts of it that make me want to turn the video off, because I feel like the word like watchable is like the most important. Like I want to make my videos watchable. If they're not, like if they have parts that are awkward and make me want to like I want to like change it to something else, like those are the things I want to work on, you know. I think my videos have gotten a lot better recently though. Like I've been you know, just getting more
AJ
experience.
is quality. Yeah, absolutely. And that last rap you did about Hoven was funny. I did. Atheist Junior does Hoven raps, and they're actually fun.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. Well,
I have a lot of content to catch up on. Apparently,
Yeah, sounds like
that's
it.
all right. I've got to get more regular with producing content, kind of thing. But sort of my thing's debate, which does take a bit of prep because I do like to be prepped and everything. So it does take a bit of.
I'm producing right now, Mark.
You're producing right now.
Yeah, I just said that. I just said I watch videos. So Amaretto said she watches with clothes. I mean, I watch. Well, there.
Peter, I will just say this.
You're all live. You're all live, by the way, now on Pornhub.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot my other question. So, Emma, does this mean you're single now?
No, so I am down to basically one partner, but I'm open and poly. So hey, it's been funny because it's just like I don't know. So between like what happened with my mom, what happened with Amy, and then what happened with my other situationship. Like this summer, it's just been like I was just like, you know what? I dove right into Twitch. I'm like, I started streaming again because I was like, I wasn't quite ready. I didn't, you know, I kind of fell out of contact with a lot of people in the YouTube sphere, and I didn't quite feel. I maybe been on Amy's channel, like I said, once or twice, but I don't know. It just it wasn't the same as like before shit went down. With her and I.
Have you had like depression after all of that?
I had severe depression actually earlier. I actually had to withdraw from my college classes earlier this year. Like the depression was bad. Like everything's been bad. Like, you know, obviously it's just kind of like when you have those kind of life situations, you know, and especially like Amy had been such a major part of my life for so long, you know, and now that's not there anymore. Like, and that's the worst part because it's just kind of like, you know, I lost my mom. I lost like one of my best friends basically. Sure. And now I've lost like the other, I just kind of like, I dove head first and like, there were a couple of Twitch streamers I'd watched. I made friends. Like now I'm like, I have a wider network of people who are nice and, you know, and that's been rewarding in a sense. And you know, it doesn't mean I love you guys any less. I'm you know, wouldn't be here if I didn't. And I want to try and like support as much as I can. It's just like, you know, I had to take that kind of step away and kind of do something different. Like, you know, I went on a date for the first time in like forever a couple weeks ago,
Wow.
and like
Weird.
right, like what even you know, so just kind of like putting myself back out there, because at the end of the day, like, what can I do? You know, life has thrown me like so many curveballs, right? So, you know, at the end of the day, like, I feel like if I don't try, well, then I'm just resigning myself to I failed, or, you know,
Yeah.
or these things have happened, and, you know, it's, yeah, I mean, in the moment, like, it's super devastating. Like, I still miss
Yeah.
Amy. I miss everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
that
that makes sense.
but
Because you had to think of if you've been in a relationship with a person for a long period of time or any period of time, and that ends, you have to think that you need at least that time period afterwards to start even getting over it. So, you know, and then maybe not even by then, you know, and there's no like right or wrong amount of time to still feel sad about it. I hate it when like I've heard people say like, oh, like this, like a loved one, like your dad died and it's been like 3 years and you're still sad. Like, yeah, so what? Like, I'm not gonna stop being sad, you know?
like, you know, and that's the thing, like, you know, and I have like such a hard time with some of the stuff anyways, because I have like something called rejection sensitivity dysphoria, you know,
Okay.
as well. And then I got COVID actually in January. I got COVID for my birthday earlier
Oh,
this year.
wow.
That was wonderful.
Oh, what a
That's
present.
So
Oh,
for anybody
damn.
who doesn't remember, I'm immunocompromised. So like I probably had a couple of hours when I was at my worst, where if I got any worse, there was a likelihood I had to go to the hospital and get admitted.
Wow. Yeah, it kicked my ass as well. Probably not that
Yes.
bad, but it did kick my ass, yeah.
My son got it before I did. Like Russell Kittens and my son tested positive before I did. Russell had like it was kind of like a little bit of a, you know, almost like the flu for them. My son had no symptoms, no fever, nothing. I'm like, I'm so thankful that my child, because he didn't have a vaccine at that point, because I don't think he was eligible to be vaccinated, or he was like right on the, like, you know, we were in the process actually, I think, of trying to arrange it. And, you know, I'm so thankful he's okay. You know, I had some long haul symptoms too. And I mean, that's a whole big thing. You know, I got dealing with everything still, like things like from my mom's passing are still not resolved, and there's still a lot of ongoing stuff. You know, my dad is not in great health. So it's like, you know, it's kick after kick after kick. So I finally had to be like, I withdrew from classes last semester for medical reasons. Like, and I'm back at it this semester, retaking them. And, you know, we're going to push forward. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like, I still am gonna try and do my best to like do content. I think part of the hardest thing, you know, with the falling out with Amy is she was actually going to do producing for me. I think I paid her. I thought we talked about that a long time ago.
Okay,
like that
so
Amy was
what
going to
is
help me.
involved with producing? What is involved with producing? What is this, Peter? What are you saying producing? Because I don't.
What that is me running a stream for someone else from my end.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
okay.
Also, like the layout.
If you yeah, so I do a little bit more. So I make all the artwork as well.
Okay.
If you
do all the transitions
if you look at
and all that stuff, all right?
Yeah, if you look at on Ross' channel, I think my best work is currently the reading Joseph's Myth, which is a layout where everyone appears in ink blocks.
So
I put a lot of time in that one, but so I make the artwork, the intro, everything. I also make sure that the guests are on screen.
Well, if you want to
for Arn, actually, it is more than just that, because I also am the person that people need to email. if they want to get a message through to Arn, that goes through my email address, which I'm actually pretty proud of, because that's an amount of trust that
Well,
you don't get that often.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I feel like Aaron's very, from my impression based, secondhand, he's a very discerning person. Like, I remember having a conversation with Amy where I think like things kind of went south on her channel, and like he never came back.
Yeah, that wasn't it.
I think I remember that.
That was with Donald, who just wouldn't let him talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Donald doesn't let anybody talk.
Yeah. Well,
No.
On my stream, if you look at the layout that I have, me and Peter spent about 2 hours setting that up. I think it took, and he, but because we were doing scenes within scenes, and Peter spent a long time helping me set that up. But I love how it looks, and I've used it since then. And then all I have to tweak is I just change the backgrounds of the webcam and the mainstream, and he set it up to where I can just go and add a video, and then I can be ready to stream basically, and I don't really have to set anything up,
So
And
Peter's just
it's
made something.
That's what's
I
made it
want
easier.
to share this because I want to show you what Peter's done. It was at the start of this, so I'll start this playing.
I love it already.
How sick is that? How
Dude.
awesome is that?
And the fun part is Mark on Discord is Vector Slide.
Yes.
That intro is
That's all
his
Vector
logo.
Slides.
No, his logo is made into a vector path in After Effects, and then everything you see on there is sliding along the vector path. So it is literally, the entire intro is a vector slide.
So Vector
Which I
Slide
thought
is
was
my gamer tag. That is my gamer tag, and it has been for the last 20, probably nearly 30 years now. Like, it has been my gamer tag forever. How I got that was that I was young and looking around for a gamer tag name to go online, and I found something called a vector slide rule, which is the way you can calculate vectors before we had like scientific calculators and stuff, that you actually have a ruler that you slide things along, and it was called a vector slide rule. And I went, that sounds cool. I'm going to use that. And that's how I got the name, and have used it ever since. Don't judge me. I'm a
Nah, dude, that's awesome. Like, I mean, mine, honestly, I just kind of like ended up taking my furry name. Like, that wasn't obviously my original, like, mine used to be a Tekken reference, because like Tekken 3 was like my first I'm really into fighting games. Tekken 3 was my first huge fighter that I really got into. And my other one was a Guilty Gear reference, which is one of my most favorite fighting games ever.
I was always partial to Soul Calibur was my favorite.
Oh gosh, dude. First time I played I went on a date with my first serious boyfriend. That first date, they had a Soul Calibur 2 cabinet at the movie theater. I never played this game before. Just grabbed Sophidia and I just like steamrolled. And they were impressed. So I basically flexed on my first date, and I'm like, once you kind of have an idea, like, with some of these games, like, it's just, it kind of fits. You can just kind of make stuff happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, oh no, we lost AJ.
Yeah, that's okay. I might wrap up anyway, because it's been going 3 hours. I originally intended to do an hour and then, leave it there for a nice 200 sub hour long thing. But I've loved talking to you guys. I really do. It's been fantastic. And Peter, I know it's really late there, and I do want some lunch because it's getting on midday. But thank you so much for coming and dropping in. I love talking to you all. It's been amazing, and thank you. as I said, I'll work out more of a schedule and I'll try to do some content. But my first love's always going to be debates, so I'll certainly be doing debates. And look, I know they're not going to change the world, Amaretto. I know that there's nothing, but I think that I don't know. I like just expressing my ideas and stuff in that format. I think it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think you do a great job of it. Like, to be honest,
you.
like I'm not just blowing smoke up your rear, but I part of the reason, like, I really do enjoy, honestly, like listening to what you have to say. And I think, just we all, have, AJ included, like, I've really loved engaging with all of you. And like, even though we're not always 100% on necessarily like that page, I mean,
yeah.
I really love, hearing what you guys have to say about a wide variety of topics. And, I really appreciate, your friendship and you guys talking with me. So, and I miss you guys. I really do. I need to try and come back more. I know.
Well, I mean, there's other places that we lurk around. Jason Torn has started to do a couple of streams here and there, and he's always interesting. Always. The other day we were talking about really interesting stuff. So, there's definitely
I do a show where you actually can come on.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow.
Dangerous.
It's a short show. It's only anywhere between 6 and 8 hours.
Yeah,
so
but
it's
the whole
not too
premise
long.
of that. But the whole premise of that, Peter, is to change atheists' minds. It's like these atheists don't believe in God. This is the one you're talking about, right, Peter?
Yeah. That's
yeah.
tomorrow.
Okay, so these atheists don't believe in God. Come on to change their mind, but I don't think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Amaretto, but you're not really looking to change anybody's mind, right?
Honestly, and that's part of why I think I kind of, I'm gonna toot my own horn, the cool theist. Because oftentimes it was like you'd have people like Perry where it just be like, yeah, you're wrong, you're wrong, and this is why you're wrong, and blah blah blah. And it's like, all right, well, let's look at this objectively. And I mean, like, yes, I have my woo. My woo theories and viewpoints, but like, no, I mean, I'm looking to just like, what do you think? Why do you think it? Let's compare, contrast, maybe how do you feel about this? I don't know. I'm looking to like engage with people and just like have fun conversations, because honestly, like, I don't necessarily, I can be very competitive and I do like debating. In fact, like my high school not having a debate club, serious travesty. But at the same time, like, I think part of it is I just like engaging with people on topics that, I mean, most people, I think, in our offline lives might not really be into this. Like, that's the case for me, and
Absolutely,
so it's just trying to engage with people, and you have unique perspectives. Like, for the example, the both of you don't live in the United States.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's going to be on some level, like, impacting how your viewpoint is or what your experiences are. And I think at the end of the day,
Peter lives in
like,
a haunted house. If you didn't know.
I mean, I live very near. I mean, I live near the president's house. I live near President Joe Biden's house. Like, for legit. I'm from Delaware. I literally, I live right by an airport he flies into. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I live as far away from human beings as I can. And
I mean, that's fair. I'm the weirdo where it's like I want a house in the city, but I also want a place in the countryside. Does that make sense? Because I'm like, I want to be able to like party, but then the times where I just want to be like, nature and green space and just, I don't know. It's a little bit of my woo nature vibes, but me and hanging out with me and my crystals in a flower field.
I have both. I still have my house in town. I have rented it out, but so if necessary, I can go back.
I mean, and honestly, that's a vibe. I mean, I and that's kind of like where I'm at. But I don't know if I'd necessarily say like I want to change anybody's mind. Now, like, on the other hand, though, yes, we are small grains of sand. But somebody pointed out like enough of them form a beach and can move.
Yeah, but what I mean is you can also come on and have a cool conversation. It's not Always.
There we go.
Not
As long as
everyone
I'm
who
not
comes
to be-
on.
Please don't make me like. Listen, I know I'm a theist, but I'm like, man, I'm not. I don't want to. I'm not gonna. I don't want to join forces with someone like Perry.
Well,
I'm not.
Otangelo will be on
No.
there because he keeps going on every week to try and convince everybody.
And every week with the same
Oh.
thing.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
same stuff.
All right. Well, if Perry goes on there, then I guess I'm going to have to go like full force Dommy Mommy. I'm going to have to go. I got an even bigger hat. I got a bigger hat than what I used to wear on
How
News
about
Channel.
The
I
witch's
did.
hat. Oh, wow.
So here's the thing. Perry has a thing for me. Every single time I crash his chat, he wants me to come on and he wants to talk to me. And I usually start out insulting him in the chat, and then he will throw out the link and say, come in, let's talk. I mean, you and I can team up, Amaretto, and go there and just trash him. That would be fun.
I always like a good double team. I'd pair up with either one of you any day.
No, thank you.
So I'll keep that in mind. So if I see him live, and I'll look on Discord if you're around, and then I can shoot you the link through Discord so you can just hop on.
So poke me on Discord even if you see me offline, because I'll be up front. I tend to keep the invisible mode on because I've gotten some trolls.
Sure.
So yeah, feel free. Like my Discord's still the same. I think I still have you guys both on, but you know what? I'll try and come hang around because now that I, Mark, I've been keeping a little bit of an eye on your channel, like as much as I can with everything all the craziness.
Course. No worries at all. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
thank you for having me on. It was
you didn't keep an eye on my channel. I'm sad.
I gotta figure out. So it's not recommending. It recommends Mark's. It's not recommending AJ's, and it's not recommending yours. And I don't know. I gotta tool my. I think like my
I'm
son.
messing with you.
I don't know.
I'm messing with you.
This is I'm autism spectrum. I take shit uber
He does
seriously.
the same to me all the time. All the time, I fall for it. It's just Peter. You just have to
this is
accept it.
neurodivergent discrimination here. You can't. You have to preface this with "I'm just joking."
Well, we need you. We need you around. It's been far too long.
I know it has.
And now,
trust me.
now you're here. I was off for most of the time because I was chasing some stupid co-host who did a stupid thing on someone's stream and made everyone nervous.
Yeah, good prank. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
I have one co-host
for sure. It's like I said, it's good to talk to you guys.
I'm going to wrap this up, but I love you both. AJ, thank you so much for coming on. And Friendly Muslim, thanks for coming on. He's a really nice guy. Always have good chats with him. Always fantastic. 200 subs. Hopefully this is just the beginning of something really cool. I don't know how that'll play out, but Peter will bully me into it somehow. Which is currently what's happening.
I am going to make you artwork, and then we'll set up your OBS, and then
he is going
you'll have
to
a trick.
Me
You'll have a trick that no one else has.
Okay.
Because then you can go on a stream.
Tricks, so.
Yeah, I mean, so what I did earlier with the Pornhub thing, that is what I'm going to teach you to do. So if you go on, let's say LPP stream. You can stream it on your channel in your own artwork, so you won't have a copy of their stuff.
Well, it's interesting because Praise just made a funny video of people with one of my face on this the film clip to whip it real good, and I was actually amused, but I was in it with people like Speed of Sound and Dr. Dan Cardinal, like really people that I think are amazingly well educated and great. So it's like, wow, I'm taking that as a compliment. That's really cool that little old Praise thinks that I'm worth it. So
you are worth it, Mark.
Do you know who Basement Dweller is, Mark?
I don't know who that is. No.
So Basement Dweller is someone who was simping for Smokey Saint.
Oh, God.
Wasn't he
because I made a silly video of Smokey Saint, and a couple of Photoshop pictures. They did a video of me an entire video, and I thought it was so funny. I used it as my video when I went on a stream. It's all photoshops of me, and it's just hilarious. They're terrible photoshops, just like the thing that Praise did.
Maybe I should
But
steal
I
that
thought
off
it was
Praise
so
and
funny.
use it for my my theme video. I actually thought about this. Maybe I should steal it and use it as my theme video when you get introduced to the channel, kind of thing, because I thought it was actually really funny. I was
the downside is that they'll never make a video with you in it again, because the idea behind it is that you'll get offended, and if you don't get offended, then
look,
so basically Mark needs to be fake offended. Just to get
how dare you take my likeness and use it for mockery and indignation? How dare you? All right, guys. Well, I love you all. Thanks for watching. I had a great time, and yeah, do take care.
Thanks for having us.
And I will see. Oh, my pleasure. And thank you all for being here. Take care and have a good day, night, evening,
what
morning.
Is time? What is time zones? It's the internet.
Time's relative. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.